Yo, what's going on? Welcome to ranking every Star Wars show and movie, and I am here with Jamal.
Hi, how you guys doing? What's popping?
Exactly. It's so cool. So awesome. So yeah, we're gonna be going through
Yep,
every movie and show and seeing if it's good, bad. Hopefully this is everything. We think it's everything. Probably.
surely.
So yeah, I guess we start with the beginning, kind of the beginning. Episode 1.
Episode one. All
Episode 1.
right.
This is actually the
I.
first thing I watched from Star Wars.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's good. Hmm.
Yeah, I was just
What
on
do you think
YouTube.
about the film?
Bro, I don't think that when I first watched it, I even understood what was happening in the Phantom Menace. I think even now, I still don't understand what's happening in the Phantom Menace. I rewatched it with one of my friends recently, and I feel like maybe I was just too low IQ, but I enjoyed it.
Hmm.
I tried to explain it to
Hmm.
them. This is why I don't think I understand it, because I tried to explain what happened in the film to them, and they just didn't get it, and they just didn't understand it.
Hmm.
And I'm like, man, I'm doing my best here. I'm doing my best, and they never became a Star Wars fan. I failed at that.
I see. I
Yeah.
see.
How about you? How do you
So
feel?
the Phantom Menace. I love all the movies one through six. 7, 8, 9. That's a little different,
Nah, we'll
but
get to that.
one I love them all, but obviously speaking, if we're talking about the original six, uh, one is probably it's debatably one of the worst ones, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. I think there's a few issues with the film, right?
A few.
Issue number one, obviously Jar Jar Binks. Why?
Ooh. Oh, you're a Jar Jar Binks
Why?
hater?
I
I didn't
I
mind
don't think he
him.
needed. I don't mind him, but like coming from just like a movie perspective, he just I don't know. I didn't super love him.
That's fair.
Obviously, the monologue and all of the prequel movies aren't the best. Um, so I think what kills this movie for me personally, I would say, is kind of like in between the middle a little bit of the film. I feel like it's a little bit too slow and sluggish, and it's like it's too talkative and politicky, and it's
Yeah.
just a little bit too much.
No, I do agree.
Um,
It gets very confusing as well.
yeah, like the first little bit is pretty solid. It's pretty okay. And I wouldn't say solid. It's pretty okay. It's the peak happens when it gets to the Darth Maul fucking fight.
Yeah.
That's when
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
incredible.
When that one guy gets
Um,
impaled
yep.
and the other one sliced in half. Classic.
Um, I think it's a good start to the Star Wars series. Obviously it's a prequel, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
if I had to put it anywhere, I would want to say C.
You want to say C? You know what? I do kind of agree with you. Because,
Mhm.
yeah, it's just kind of like, it's a good start. Yeah, I mean, I say good start. I don't know. The prequel movies are so messy. Especially
Yeah.
the first one. I think the other two are a little bit more, like, not as messy as this one. This one does so much and does a lot of world building that don't think quite lands or has enough time to really play out. I think you don't get a lot of the Star Wars world like explored and really expanded on until you get to like the Clone Wars, and that helps the
Right.
prequels retroactively a lot. I think because it gives you so much more insight into them. But with the first one specifically, not as much. So I mean, I'm feeling more. I'm feeling more D tier, but I'm okay with
D.
the
I
C
think D is
tier.
also fair.
But I'm also okay
Um.
with C though as well. I don't mind.
Mhm.
Like, which one do you feel
We could
more?
always we could al- could we are we allowed to move them after we place them, or
I think so.
like
Yeah.
if we do the whole list we could look over it again and be like, okay, maybe we move it or
Yeah, maybe
something.
we move it.
But
Yeah, no, we can move it
we
afterwards.
can put it C for now.
Okay, C for now.
Then
All right.
yeah.
That's not a bad place. I'm okay with that. That's fine.
Hmm.
All right. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't think I remember what happens in okay, I do remember what happens in episode 2, but this one is more out of my memory than these two. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's like
Right.
the middle
Okay.
child, but there's a few scenes I remember. I know that the Padme skin and Anakin skin are in Fortnite.
Yeah.
So for that alone, I might bump it up a bit more, but I'm gonna let you talk about it since I'm not
All
as
right.
quite well versed for this one.
Okay. So Star Wars Episode 2 is, I think, here's the thing. So like, I think Episode 1, Episode 2 are really similar, close and close. Like you could either say like Episode 1's better, Episode's 2 better, depending on how you feel. But
Yeah,
I feel like overall, like Episode 2 is overall a better movie. It has
I
more
think so.
action is the main thing.
Yeah,
Um, from the start of the film, a little chase. What obviously the chase is hilarious because it's just like, oh, I'm gonna send a bounty hunter, and the bounty hunter is like, oh, I'm gonna send another bounty hunter, and then the bounty hunter is like, oh, I'm gonna
I
send a uh caterpillar or whatever the hell that thing was
yeah.
to go kill Padme. That's
I
when you
love
look deep into it, it's
Yeah,
hilarious. But
it is. I love like the Lego games made that like a whole bit where they
yeah.
just like had it all like play out like that. It's one of the movies. Hiring a bounty hunter to hire a bounty hunter to then hire another bounty hunter to do a thing is like fantastic storytelling. I think that's
Mhm.
like probably peak Star Wars. Once again, the Fortnite skins are playing a factor in my brain. I'm gonna say like
Mhm.
higher C tier than the Phantom Menace for me personally.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I I love rewatching all the Star Wars films all the time, and every time I get to Episode 2, I always have a fun time watching it because it has a lot of fun in it. We get Obi-Wan versus Jango Fett, and what's the
true.
planet called again? Geonosis?
Yeah. Wait,
It's a
yeah.
water planet, right?
Yeah, it is.
No, 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 no,
No,
no, no.
wait.
Geonosis is the place where they did the battle of Geonosis. What's the water planet called again?
Oh, you're talking about that one? That one's Camino.
Camino. Yeah. Okay, yeah. They had the little fight on Camino, and then the little space fight with the amazing like explosion, and it goes to silence. Oh, that every time I see
Yeah.
them, it's perfection. Battle of Geonosis obviously is incredible. The only thing I could really say that was like a little bit underwhelming is like the final fight
Mm.
with Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Yoda. You hear Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Yoda, and then Count Dooku, and you think, oh, that's got to be peak, but it's kind of just okay. It's just a very okay final fight, but
Yeah.
yeah, I would
A
I
lot of
would
Yoda flips.
put it slightly a lot of Yoda flips. Yep. Oh man, I would put it at a C.
See?
I will
Okay.
say this though, although I do think it's slightly better than one's high points, the high points in episode 1 are definitely better than the high points in episode 2. Overall,
Mm-hmm.
I think episode 2 is better. Obviously, the downfall of episode 2 is definitely the romance.
Yeah.
The
Oh.
romance, the romance, the romance,
Oh
man.
man.
It's
We don't gotta talk about the sand. Like we don't have to mention it.
the romance is terrible,
Yeah.
and it definitely is a somewhat a chunk of the movie. So it's kind of like it's not like a thing you brush under the rug. I kind of whenever I watch it, I kind of just laugh at it
Mm-hmm.
at this point, but
Yeah.
it's not good.
Once again, that's like one of those things where I feel like retroactively, kind of the Clone Wars helps to develop more. So something like we don't
Oh
see in the
yeah,
movies as
100%,
much. And but
100%.
I don't want to give that like credit to the movies either way because like the TV show wasn't around to develop it more, you know? Like they had to do the heavy lifting and I don't think they did. Like that
Mm-hmm,
romance and selling it and stuff. But
mm-hmm,
yeah.
mm-hmm.
So I think just C tier. It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And then episode 3. Oh, the one with all the memes and the fantastic fights and the climactic ending and all that. So,
Yes.
how do you feel about this one?
Revenge of the Sith. I absolutely love Star Wars
Mm,
as a whole, but Revenge of the Sith, man. I don't think it's the best Star Wars film, but
okay.
however, I do think it is my favorite Star Wars film I've ever seen. I have rewatched Revenge of the Sith more than any other Star Wars movie by
Mm-hmm.
far. Um, it is my favorite, personal favorite. Um, I hope that doesn't really make me too biased, but I do think it's one of the best, one of the best Star Wars films in my opinion. We get to finally see the story that George really wanted to tell, and it was the the demise and downfall of Anakin Skywalker,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And
This
I
is
think it
wrapping
was
up that
great.
story. Yeah.
The only thing I can really say bad about that film, and again, it's not even like that bad. It's just the dialogue. Other than that, I like everything about this film.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly,
I didn't hate the
it's
dialogue that much for episode 3. Like
I didn't. I don't. I
comparatively.
don't. I don't hate it. I don't hate
Yeah.
it at all. That much at all.
Like,
There's only a couple of times where it's a little bit
yeah, it's a
like
little like,
iffy,
yeah.
but
But I don't know, I feel like
I
those
think that
high
was pretty
moments in
decent.
3 they'll like make up for it a lot. Especially with moments like when Anakin's just giving that speech to
Yeah.
Obi-Wan and he goes like through that like that. You see him just slip into darkness a lot more. I
Right.
kind of wish that we got to see the his shift to darkness a bit more in the films. I don't think they quite
Right.
like showed it off well enough, in
You
my
think so?
opinion. Like in between
Mhm.
like 2 and 3. You know, I guess
Mhm.
it's also maybe this is also the fault of the Clone Wars. Okay, this one's actually maybe a Clone Wars like did a disservice to it. Is I don't think we see Anakin's downfall to darkness like quite well enough with the Clone Wars in mind. Without it, it's whatever. I'm not gonna hold it as a fault to the films.
Uh-huh.
But I think the Clone Wars retroactively kind of makes Anakin's downfall a little bit more like not as believable in my opinion. Like there are things
Uh-huh.
that happen that influence it more, but we see Anakin be kind of like I don't know, too like light side most of the time. I don't know. There's like moments that tease it, but I don't think that it's. I think it's too sudden, basically. Like I don't know, for him to go from where he was here to murdering younglings here, I think it's too like drastic. But I'm not gonna
Right.
hold that as a
Okay.
fault of the film, so I'm not gonna like take that into consideration. What would you
Uh-huh.
rate it though?
So just to comment on what you just said with the his downfall and stuff and then
Mm-hmm.
how it felt sudden.
Yeah.
Um I that's another thing I guess I didn't mention about episode 2. We do get to see him fully enraged and just
Yeah.
I murdered not just the kids but all like
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
see a
There.
little we see it bits and pieces here and there, but I totally get what you're saying. Like I feel like a lot of people have fallen in love with Clone Wars Anakin, like in the animated show,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of hard to be like, man, I how did he just suddenly switch? But at the same time, it's because of his obviously it's because of his deep love for Padme. He did it all for Padme. And
Mm-hmm.
he's extremely blinded by that. He's been like that for forever, right? Even in episode 2, he was completely blinded and he was like, yo, I'm seeing these visions of my mother. Like, I have to explore this. I wanna try to save my mom, like, you know? So when he loves somebody, I think he will do literally anything and it completely blinds his judgment. Anyways, as for the ranking, I would say S tier.
S tier. You know what?
I really love Revenge of the Sith. I might be biased just a tiny bit, but I would say S tier because I think I also this dimension. It's my personal favorite Star Wars film, but I also
Mm-hmm.
think in a lot of other Star Wars fans' eyes, it's also their favorite Star
Yeah.
Wars film.
No, for sure. Um.
So I would say S tier.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, I agree. I agree. S tier. I'm thinking to see like planning ahead, seeing what else I kind of feel is S tier or what I already know I
Mhm.
love as like peak Star Wars. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. S tier.
Hmm.
All right, episode 4, where it also all began technically.
Yes.
Ooh, the origin of Luke and all that stuff. I mean, I guess technically this is the origin of Luke in a way, but anyway, yeah, Luke Skywalker's the start of his story. How did you
Yeah.
feel about episode 4? I feel as I'm asking you to
Ep-
like start it off all these, but go ahead.
That's good. Episode 4 is a great film. It is fantastic from meeting Luke to seeing 3PO and R2's dynamic. That's the first time you get to see them, and it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, these guys, their dynamic is great.
You have to see them
And
as
there's
homies.
so many things I could say about this film. It's just every time I see this film, I get nothing but feel good vibes, man.
Yeah.
It is a classic. It is great. The adventure that you get to see with everybody, you get to see. I don't, man, the compactor scene, the Obi-Wan's death, and everything. I think it's a great film.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. No,
what do you
overall.
think?
Overall, yeah, that's a great film. I think this is a great start for Star Wars. It does a lot to set up these characters, and like later on, obviously we see more of them, and we get to develop more of their stories. And I think lore-wise, it also set up so much like mystery and a lot of like world
Yeah,
building. I think though, like not in terms of like it itself doing the world building, but more of creating a lot of mystery around the Star Wars universe, and something that later on, like the prequels could come in and like fill in more of the story, or like the Clone Wars, or even Rebels afterwards, to just tell more of that Star Wars universe. And it did so much to set stuff up, and it also
right.
told its own story. Of course, it was like complete. It was a good. It's good. It's a good start to the franchise. Iconic characters. Overall, I really like it. I think it's like I like it a lot. Yeah, I just like it a lot. I don't know.
Hmm.
It's not much that I can really say about it. I think all the people that were put into this film did a good job with it. Yeah. I mean, it's the reason why it started all this, like, started all of this.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. I think I'm okay with giving it like an A tier for me personally. Just an A
I
tier, maybe.
100% agree. I
Yeah.
think I would say A, easy A. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's quite S tier, but I think it's an easy A.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Clear
think A
easy A.
tier. A tier is a fair
Yeah.
place. All right. Episode 5. Ooh,
Let's go.
this one, I know a lot of people love this one. Um, but how did you feel about it?
Episode 5. Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back, is, in my opinion, the greatest slash the best Star Wars movie, period.
Mm-hmm. Damn, full stop?
And I full stop, bro. It
Oh,
is fantastic. I love this film. Obviously, other than Revenge of the Sith, it's probably my second favorite Star Wars. Well, is it? Oh, maybe, but it's definitely
you're
the best when
conflicted.
you look at it from like a movie standpoint and stuff.
Yeah.
This everything, this perfection to the reveal of I am your father, or and like everything in that movie is great. I'm gonna just say it ahead of time, but I think it's an easy S tier. But
Yeah.
what do you think?
I like it a lot. I think it does, I feel like I'm in a weird position where my Star Wars start was with like kind of watching the prequels, and then really
Yeah.
like into the Clone Wars. Because I guess maybe I said earlier that my first thing with Star Wars was like watching this on YouTube, but it occurred to me I've actually seen some Clone Wars episodes first before then, but it was like the first time that my brain like started having cognitive function, that I watched like the prequels and then the Clone Wars all the way through. And so kind of going from that like to episodes 4, 5, and 6, I didn't feel as much of a connection to them as a lot of other people do.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
because I just didn't start with them, and the characters of Luke Skywalker and all those guys were always more distant to me for Star Wars in
Yeah.
general, simply because like a lot of the other like TV shows and media around it don't really follow them. And it's not until
Right.
recently, or fairly recently, that I had gotten more into like episodes 4, 5, and 6. But I
Yeah.
still obviously enjoyed this film a lot. I think it did a lot great and good. It's a more darker movie. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Han Solo, Rip Bozo type shit. Like I don't know. It
Rebels.
was
Yeah.
it was just it was good. It was a really good movie. I agree with you. It is like one of the greater Star Wars movies. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'd say S tier too. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really have any complaints about like the Star Wars films. It feels almost kind of weird to have something like, I mean, okay, hold on, let me fix that statement real quick. I don't have any complaints yet about the Star Wars films, because I
Yeah.
don't have like, I don't feel as passionately about like episodes 1 through 6. And maybe it
Yeah.
is just because I was younger when I watched them, and a
Yeah.
lot more of those flaws just kind of slipped through.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fine S tier though. Even by itself, it is just a good movie. It is a phenomenal film.
I will say this before you continue
Hmm.
about the flaws thing. I think obviously people criticized the prequels, but when you look back at what was wrong with those films, it was minor issues, right? It was just like dialogue and like certain characters. Well, Jar Jar Binks, but
Yeah, the one
it
character
was
that a lot of people
dialogue,
hate.
romance, and stuff. It was just minor things. But when you actually look at the overarching story, it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
Fucking episode 1, 2, 3. The actuals, like just looking straight up at the story, not the acting, not the dialogue, not the romance. You're just looking at the overarching story. It's fucking great.
it is. It
It is
is
absolutely fantastic.
the how carefully crafted Palpatine is in between
Mm-hmm.
like episodes 1 through 6 is just great.
Mm-hmm.
We don't talk about what happens afterwards, but like just how consistent they were with that like one
Yeah.
story that George Lucas had. It was just really good. It was really well done. The team did a good job. And yeah, I mean, yeah, he just did a good job. And then,
Mm-hmm.
they had to wrap it up somehow with episode 6. How do you feel about this one?
Episode 6. It's another classic. I love this film a lot as a kid because I was the debut of the green lightsaber, and that's my
Yeah,
all-time favorite. Luke's lightsaber. That's my all-time favorite lightsaber, man. I always like that.
it
I don't
has a
know.
really cool help.
It does. It's my favorite help.
Yeah.
But I like this film. I don't. I to this day I don't super understand why people don't like. People like this film obviously, but like the main gripe with the movie is what are those little things called in that movie? The the little bears.
Oh, the little.
I'm a fake Star Wars fan, bro.
Yeah, no, not
No,
real.
the little
The
dudes.
the little dudes.
Star
Oh, the
Wars.
little dudes. Oh God. I think it's with the letter. Is it the letter O? No, it's not the letter O. Oh, what are they called?
Um, little bear,
The
little
little
bears. How about
bears.
Ewoks? Ewoks.
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 Okay, it was not the
Yeah.
letter O.
Okay. Ewoks. Yeah, the little Ewoks, and then some people are like, oh, it's unrealistic. I mean, it's the world. My response to that is, sure, you can think it's silly all you want, but like at the end of the day, it is a universe where you're lifting things with your mind, and you have glowy sticks that you're fighting with. I don't really see the fuss in it too much. I don't know. I didn't like people wouldn't be angry at it if the cute Ewoks were more menacing. So
Hmm.
I don't know. So I don't really see
Yeah,
the issue with that.
I didn't
But
hear many
other than
complaints
that,
about
I
them.
digress. Oh really?
I didn't even know that was a thing that people complained about. To be honest.
That was the only complaint that I've ever heard about episode 6 is that the Ewoks are too um I don't know,
They're
they,
too
they
powerful.
they feel too overpowerful, I guess.
Yeah, too broken. I guess it's kind
But
of fair,
I don't
You have like
yeah.
the little bears, new species name, like just kind of
Mhm.
like dominating and stuff. Like I kind of get it, but also it's just a story. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah. That
I
being said, I still love the film.
Yeah.
Again, I just want to clarify. I don't think that's an issue with the film. I disagree with that. I was just saying that that's something that people say, but
Mm-hmm.
um,
No, not sir.
I I think it's an easy A tier.
I
Um,
agree. I think A tier is a solid place
I
for it. I think above or
as
below.
much as it's a great, it's the fact like even though it's like a great Star Wars film and stuff, there's something that I don't think it's S tier. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
a
Yeah.
great finish to the Skywalker story, but
I think it tells a
I
beautiful
would say
message too.
I think it's above New Hope though.
Yeah.
Let's open up episode 4. But
Okay.
yeah, what were you saying? Sorry.
I think it has a good message too. Him like throwing the
Mm-hmm.
lightsaber away at the end, choosing like the peace and stuff. He won't
Mm-hmm.
abandon his father and all that. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. Who doesn't embrace the dark side. I think overall for the I know we mentioned it, but for the like these 6 films, the story is so well told. Well, okay. The story is so good for all 6 of them and it's so
Yeah.
well connected, and also has some really iconic moments. We didn't really like. I don't think we really mentioned them, but each of these films has
Hmm.
such great and iconic moments, in every
Yeah.
single one of them. And it's
Yeah.
like Luke like going to grab his lightsaber. Anakin fighting Obi-Wan and Mustafar, and just the first and I guess second Death Star explosion, Luke throwing away his lightsaber. Like it's just so many moments that are just so iconic in these films, and
Yeah.
it's commendable. Honestly, they did like a really good job, and it's great. It's a great like basis and a great start for Star Wars. These six and
Hmm.
what they set up.
Hmm. Hmm.
But where did it go? Where did it go? Where did it go? Where did it go? All right, so here's where I think I can have like a bit more of a stronger opinion and say more about them.
Hmm.
Star Wars Episode 7. Oh boy.
Hmm.
I I remember when this film came out. I
Hmm.
was like, "Man, this is awesome. I love Star Wars." And you know what? Episode 7 by itself, I think is a good film. Is it like not taking any risk? Is it safe? Yeah, but it's a
Hmm.
fun start. I think we see some new characters that could be very interesting. We have people like Kylo Ren, who could be a great villain. Like, oh man, I wonder, what's gonna happen to this guy who's like really emotional and still learning how to be like evil. I don't know. This could be cool. Good new start to Star Wars. Who is this Rey? Who are her parents? Finn, oh my god, a stormtrooper that has gone like, against the Empire, and now he's also like might be a Force user, kind of. He's holding a lightsaber, like a lot of teases.
Hmm.
Like this could go places. And I think just off of that alone, like The Force Awakens, I think such a good start to a trilogy, mainly because it's not exactly a copy and paste, but it's similar to a copy and paste
Yeah.
of the first one. I think it's like more paying homage to it. I never saw it as cynically as other people do in like when it first
Yeah.
came out. Now I kind of do see it more cynically for reasons, but I think that The Force Awakens by itself is a really good film. It's a good film,
Yeah.
and I think retroactively, however, it becomes very disappointing of a film. Cause,
Hmm.
but I don't want to fault the film too much for it. I don't want to fault The
Hmm.
Force Awakens, cause man, I miss how I felt about Star Wars when The Force Awakens came out.
Yeah.
Oh, I miss it. I was so happy about
Hmm.
Star
Hmm.
Wars. How did you
Me
feel
too.
about The Force Awakens?
I loved when The Force Awakens came out because I was like, man, we're getting a new trilogy. We got a decent first film. I saw people talking about how it was like similar to uh episode 4, which I totally get. I totally understand. I definitely see it, but I definitely think they're two different films at the end of the day. It was a little bit I would say it's more playing safe. You know what I'm saying? What playing safe with the formula and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But I was so excited when this movie came out. Uh, not to say I do think it's a good film. It definitely is not like perfect though.
Yeah.
Um, I think what we kind of looked over it a little bit when it first came out, but looking back at it a little bit, right? Looking at Ray in the film, um, we definitely saw early stages of her being that like Mary Sue kind of character,
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
kind
where
of
she was
like,
super powerful.
yeah, like superpower right out the gate. And it was just like, oh, I don't know anything about the Force or anything, but I'm just gonna suddenly uh force mind trick this stormtrooper to help me get out. Like
You know,
I yeah.
for me personally, I don't think her being that was a problem at the start, simply because there was so much
Hmm.
mystery. Because she could have just been a prodigy.
Right.
Kind of like in the
Right.
way that Anakin is like super powerful. And same thing with
Right.
like Luke. Like, even though Luke did have to do like training and stuff. And I guess we do see Rey's
Right.
training later on, but like it's way too late. And I wish that we had gotten more of like, if the movies were actually good later on, that we had seen more of that like reasoning, and they could have explored like why Rey is so powerful, you know, like why is Rey so good? It's because Rey is like this next like big thing, you know, like that's I think it would have been
Yeah.
nice. It would have been good to see that, like why Rey is so powerful, why Rey can do all that. I don't really like mind it too much that she can do it. I think I kind of like took it as like Rey was always like this big fan of like, you know, the former Jedi, and like she knew a
Yeah.
lot about the Jedi because she was just like, you know, obsessed with them and stuff, and she just had like a lot of
Yeah.
information about them, like she
Mm.
knew like about Han Solo, for example, and Chewbacca. So my mindset of it was always like she kind of like knew about what the Jedi could do, and it was
Mm.
more of like she was already naturally gifted, so she just kind of said, maybe I can do this," and then just trying it out, type beat. That's how I
Mm.
always like felt about it, but I don't think that's like fair, because that's my own headcanoning, that's my own like justifying for the film, but that's the film didn't do it itself. It just kind of let
Mm.
things happen without much explanation or reasoning, and or even like explaining it later on.
Yeah.
So, with all that said, though, I don't know if to rank this. I don't know if I want to give my ranking like for the film by itself in a vacuum, or to rank it with. I guess for the other films I didn't do it with everything else in mind. I don't know if I do it in a vacuum.
Mm.
Yes, that's a good movie. It was a good movie. The Force Awakens is it's fun. I think it's a
Mm.
fun film. I don't know if I'd ever watch the sequel trilogy again, simply because I know what happens. But if I could go
Yeah.
back in time with no knowledge of these two, I'd watch The Force Awakens again. I like The Force
Yeah.
Awakens. I liked it. I'm gonna give it. I don't. A tier feels so high, but it was a really good movie. I'm gonna give it. I say B tier, maybe A. What do you feel? How do you feel about it? I'm still
I'm
debating.
definitely feeling a strong B.
Strong B.
Uh, yeah, a strong B. I think it's a good film.
Mm,
I don't think it's better than New Hope. I think New Hope is. There's a
yeah,
certain spark about New Hope.
for sure.
Uh, and I can't really say too many issues about New Hope. There are issues I could say with um um episode 7, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like because of that, I would put it a whole rank below.
Mm,
Um, Shout out Kylo Ren getting clapped by two people who have never held a lightsaber
yeah.
before in their
No,
life
that is
after
that
being
is.
trained
Oh,
by Luke Skywalker, brother.
oh
Like,
God. Yeah,
other
no,
than that,
that
though,
that
I think
part,
it's I think it's a good film.
bro. Kylo could have been such a cool
Oh, man.
villain, bro.
He could have
Speaking
been,
of
man.
what could have been a cool movie, The Last Jedi. Oh God, The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi.
What are your thoughts?
Oh God, The Last Jedi. Oh man, I remember when Ryan Johnson, he was like, I wanted to make a film that was going to divide people, and he didn't want everyone to feel the same way. And it's like, oh, okay, so you want to make a movie that like half the people think is garbage, and the other half think it's like okay, like all right, fine, you know, you do your own thing. Um, I think this movie is boring. The first time I watched it, I actually fell asleep. I think it was super boring. Um,
Yeah.
I hated it. I think that all the like things that made it, there were some cool shots at the end. I think it has one of the coolest shots in Star Wars. Like I'll give it that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that scene where whatever her name is, purple hair woman, went through like the supremacy or whatever it's called, and just
Hmm.
destroyed it, and that was a cool shot. One of the coolest shots in Star Wars, and you know, commendable, I guess. But one good shot can't save a dog shit film. Now, I already have where
Yeah.
I want to put it. Actually, maybe I don't actually. There's another one that's like contending for the next spot.
Uh,
But I hate it. I hate it. I think that I don't know, man. There's just so much that disappoints about it. Just the characters, like those red troopers or whatever they're called. They seemed cool. Snoke seemed cool because he was. Oh my god, we haven't even mentioned Snoke yet. Oh god.
yep.
Oh my god.
I
Snoke.
haven't even talked about
Snoke.
it yet.
The villain. He was like he's like Palpatine too. Man,
Yeah.
I remember all the speculation about what Snoke could have been. And like is
Mhm.
he like a clone of Palpatine? Is he like some guy from outer space, like in the outer I forgot what it's called in the what is it called in Star Wars? Oh my god. What's like the outer places? Oh my god.
I kind of know what you're talking about, but I don't know the name.
Oh shit. Man, fake Star Wars fan. But yeah, no, like from just outside the galaxy, basically. I don't know exactly
Yeah.
what it was called. But like that, he was like this guy that had so much mystery behind him, and so much that he could have done, and just be like the main villain, the main guy to train up Kylo Ren. Because Kylo Ren clearly, after getting his ass whooped, by two new individuals and two new people with a lightsaber, he needed some training, bro. And Snoke was there. Snoke did some stuff, but they just killed it, and they killed the trilogy at the same time because Kylo Ren just was not at the strength to be the lead villain at that point. It was way too early. Ryan Johnson is in his attempt to be like, I don't even know, edgy, I guess. I don't know what the objective was. He ruined it. He fucked it. He fucked the trilogy. So many plot lines that went nowhere. With these characters, especially with Finn, just left off to the
Yeah.
side to go on some side quests with a character that was handled like horribly with Rose, and like Finn's
Mm.
sacrifice also just being like ruined as well. So the
Yeah.
resistance just kind of like got fucked, I guess. Like cool. Like it
Mm.
would have been, I would think it would have been a bummer if Finn died, to be honest, because I don't think that would have like
Yeah.
like his potential would have been ruined. I don't think they should have put him in that position in the first place, TBH.
Mm-hmm.
But if they were gonna
Mm.
like already tease like he was gonna sacrifice himself, they should have gone all the way through with it at that
Yeah.
point. Because what they ended up doing is just making it a lot worse. Where now it's just they didn't do anything with him, and then it's not even like his sacrifice was worth something, or like his being spared of the sacrifice was worth something, because he didn't do anything afterwards.
Right.
He was just ruined. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Point is, I hated this movie. I hated this movie. It was boring. I don't like the decisions they made. They didn't stay faithful to what I feel Luke Skywalker would be. I get that people
Yeah.
change, but you need to do a couple of things. One is like, how do you go from the man who can face down two of the most evil people and choose to not fight to a guy who's about to murder his 16-year-old nephew, bro? What happened? What,
Here,
what, what, what happened, bro?
here's my thing with Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. Uh, I I actually understand where they were going with Luke Skywalker. They were going with the whole like, George Lucas once said, poetry, it's like poetry, it rhymes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we're going to look at what other Jedi's have done in the past in terms of like, um, you know, them failing and stuff, he did exactly what the other Jedi's in the past has done.
Yeah.
I mean, going far away from where he was, isolating, be far away from everybody else, being sad and depressed, and I get that. I see where they're coming from. That like Yoda did it, Obi-Wan did it. I get it. Jedi of the past have done the exact same thing. Going to hiding and shit. It's just like, well, I fucked up. Now Kylo Ren's gonna be this evil Sith Lord and shit. It's crazy. So I get where they're going with that, but the issue comes in is when they just did not do it right at all. It's fine. Okay, you want to make Luke like this, but the way that they did it was just bad. It was not Luke
Mm-hmm.
Skywalker in the slightest.
Yeah.
Not one bit.
Yeah.
Not one bit. And I think the first example you see of that immediately, and I still hate this scene, is yeah, all this build up for this film, and in the first couple of scenes he holds that lightsaber, immediately tosses it for a comedic
Mm-hmm.
gag. It's just like,
For comedic effect.
okay,
You know what? I do like the scene where he's like milking that cow thing, and he just like drinks it right in front of Ray. That's a funny ass scene.
yeah,
I'll give it to Ryan Johnson, bro. He cooked there. He cooked with that scene.
incredible scene.
I think retroactively looking back on it, that might have been like the best scene of the movie. That's like
Uh-huh.
some real alpha energy. Um, just for that alone, I
Despite
think maybe S tier actually. I changed my mind. Might be the best Star Wars film.
oh man, I think I could have, I could have forgiven this movie for a lot of the things. Like, I don't think I could ever say it's like a good or a great film ever. I don't think I could ever say that, but I could have forgiven this film easily and be able to rewatch it over and over again. But it's what came next that ruined it. But we'll get to
Mm-hmm.
that later.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you
Yeah.
thinking?
Simply because I find it to be the most insufferable movie to watch. Period. Okay, maybe
Uh-huh.
not period. Yeah, that implies like every movie ever. But just in Star Wars in general, I think this is the worst Star Wars project. Any other show here, any other movie here, I can tell you right now, I can watch it again. Would I do it
Okay.
happily and willingly? Okay, would I do it happily? No, not really. Some of these shows, I feel like if I go back and see it, and some of these like movies, if I go back and watch it, I won't be happy. But this is the only one where I think I'd just be miserable watching it. Like every moment would
All right.
feel so sluggish and slow. Cause this movie felt so slow. It's so long and for what, bro? They spent like, oh man, something about the setting too, bro. A whole ass galaxy, man, and we spend the entire film watching the two slowest ship in the universe, bro. Like it's
Yeah.
insane. It's incredible. I think this is an awful film. Probably the worst Star Wars project media ever. Full stop.
Okay. All right.
How do
I'll
you?
put it dear the worst.
You're
Either
the
or.
worst.
Whatever you think. Yeah.
All right. Okay, we can argue about the worst because I have a feeling that there's not gonna be worse than these two.
Yeah.
Um. Oh God, the next one. What was this one called? The Rise of
Rise of
Skywalker. The Rise of
Skywalker. All right.
Skywalker.
Let me talk about this,
Go
man. I
ahead. Go
have
ahead.
This is the worst Star Wars film. This for me personally is the worst Star Wars film, bro. Say what you want to say about the sequels, right? You know, episode 7 started off all right, started decent, and then episode 8 was a little bit of a clusterfuck, it was a little bit boring. It was the longest Star Wars film ever. It was
Yeah,
2 hours and a half.
and it
That
felt
did
like
not
that.
need to be 2 hours and a half.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely, you felt the 2 hour, it being 2 hours and a half, right?
I got a good nap during it though.
But
So.
this movie, though,
Oh man, this
with
movie.
one line personally, ruined it entirely.
Oh.
I've never seen a film that's just ruined the entirety of the rest of the films with one line.
Low key.
Somehow Palpatine returned. Bullshit.
Somehow Palpatine returned, bro. Like, oh, okay. Somehow Palpatine returned. Ah, all right. It all makes sense now. Wait. Oh, they fly now? Oh, they fly now. Oh man, you know what? I do like this movie for one thing, and that's all the lines that they gave us. Like they has some of the worst. Like say what you want about the prequel trilogy and those like that dialogue. This one, it's like lines I think are objectively worse simply because of how much they do to ruin the continuity and lore of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And also introducing the Force Dyad. That too. Just like dropping it in there, This whole new
Yeah.
concept that these two are linked. And also, by the way, they tried to be like, oh, this is what Palpatine was trying to do with Vader. By the way, like this is expanded lore stuff, where they talked about it like the books or I don't know if it was the books or the comics.
Yeah.
But Palpatine was trying to make a Force dyad happen in between him and Darth Vader, and it's like that didn't. What? What are you talking about? What are you saying right now, bro? This makes no sense. I think this movie is a mess. It's way too like I feel like it was made from not from like a normal storytelling perspective, more like we need to get to this one last place. How do we get there? And then just going backwards. So like, oh, we need to get to this planet. We'll just give him a knife. It's like, oh, how do we get the knife? We talk to this one guy. Oh, but how do we have this happen? Oh, we just got this happen. Like it feels like that, like a bunch of conveniences all in a row.
Yeah.
And oh my god. It's just miserable. Just what happens, what occurs, the direction that it goes in. It's just miserable. But
Yeah.
I at least stayed awake during this movie. And that is more
Uh-huh.
than I can say for a lot of other like Star Wars stuff.
That's fair. Uh-huh.
But
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. Oof. What did
My
I say?
thing is between the two of those films, Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. I might not have I didn't fall asleep to either, but
Hmm.
I was more furious the whole film watching Rise of Skywalker. I was like, there's no way they you could immediately after watching that film, you could tell that they had no idea what they were doing from this first fucking movie. They made the first film. I was like, oh, we made a lot of money from that. Let's see what else we could do. They had no overarching story or plan going into anything, and it shows. It's sad.
Yeah, it really is. Also, I don't know what I said there at the end. My grandma had walked in. I was a bit distracted. I was telling her to not talk.
Uh-huh.
But I think I like misspoke there. This one I didn't fall asleep compared to this one is what I meant to say. I said all of Star
Yeah,
Wars.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
meant this specifically. I was just like telling my grandma
Mhm.
to not talk basically, but also I couldn't really, speak. Anyway, whatever. Point is,
Yeah.
yeah, no. I think this movie is infuriating, but I think I don't know. Compared to the last Jedi set it off, and the Rise of Skywalker to me is just a consequence of that. Because where do you go from here? Kylo Ren isn't enough of a villain to carry a ninth
Uh-huh.
film, because we don't have Snoke there to make him that main villain. Snoke is killed
Mhm.
off, so he can't be the ninth main villain. They had
Mhm.
absolutely nowhere to go, and this is entirely their fault. This isn't like trying to excuse the film,
Yeah.
but I think a lot of the problems with episode 9 start in episode 8, which all
Yeah.
started back when they decided to make episode 7 and then switch directors and also not have a constant vision. Because I feel like even like it's not the fault of having different directors, it's just not having one overarching vision for it. And also, because they don't have like an overarching vision, having different directors screwed it over.
Right, right.
Especially when the directors like gave each other notes about what to do, and they just said, "Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing," and they did their own thing, and that's how we get to the Last Jedi, and that's how we get to the Rise of Skywalker. Uh, 3 movies all fighting with each other that don't work together at all, and end up just being a failure.
Right.
But which is the
Right.
worst? Because I think it's in between these two. And for me personally, I'd have to say it's this one. I think this one's the catalyst for what ruined the other 2 movies. This one retroactively, and this one just because it had nowhere to go. And I just
Uh-huh.
found it to be more boring. And I think it's more of a crime than being infuriating in
That's
my
fair.
mind. But
I would say Rise of Skywalker's works
you know
worst in
what?
my opinion, but I think we could put both in the worst.
I think we
I
could put
feel
them both.
like.
That's all I was gonna say. Because we wanted to keep the worst to be only one movie. But you know what? There we go. There we go. The
Yeah.
worst. Perfect.
Cuz I
They,
totally get what you're saying with the Last Jedi being like, it's part of the big reason why Rise of Skywalker was so bad. Um but for me personally, that doesn't excuse how bad Rise of
yeah.
Skywalker is.
No, that's fair.
Uh
They
so
are
I
both
think they're
awful.
the two worst Star Wars films, so
Yeah.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
The worst
I
Star
think that's
Wars
totally fair.
projects ever. And like I don't think there's gonna be much. I mean maybe there's something we hate more here, but I doubt it. Star
Yeah.
Wars Visions. Actually, do you
Did you
have
watch
anything
Star
else you
Wars
want to say
Visions?
about these two?
Oh, I don't want to talk about them anymore. I'm done.
That's fair.
I
No,
don't want
that's
to see
fair.
them ever again.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. I wouldn't want to either. All right, Star Wars Visions. Did you see these? Did you watch them?
I watched a couple episodes. I don't know if I watched all of them,
Mm-hmm.
but I watched a few.
I haven't seen
It's
season 2.
I haven't seen season 2 either. It's kind of just okay. I
Mm-hmm.
would just put it in D because there's nothing in D. It's kind of well, actually
Wow,
that's a little hard.
that's
That's a little harsh.
cool.
That's
That's
actually really
cool
harsh.
for
That's
Visions.
actually really
Damn.
harsh. Okay, C actually. If I'm
I
being fair.
honestly I kind of with Visions, I think they have some really good episodes and some really cool fight scenes. For anime
Uh-huh.
Star Wars, I think it could have been a lot more. I think it should be a lot
Yeah.
more. Um, Maybe season two has more of like what makes it good or more like cool stuff, but I doubt it because I
Mm.
did see like the first few episodes and it felt like a lot of the same of season one of Visions. But I think that
Yeah.
Visions like peak, it has some really cool stuff like samurai mixed with Star Wars type things, and like that one character that had like six lightsabers, like it was super cool. I think Visions did a
Mm.
lot of cool stuff. I think low key, just because of like Visions peaks are like I think B to A tier, maybe not A tier, but definitely B tier. I think its lows are like comparable to like D to C tier. So I think giving it a C tier feels fair, but I'd give it like a
Yeah, I
high
think
one.
C is fair.
Because you could
Yeah.
choose which ones you want to watch. You can choose to just watch the good ones. And it's an
Yeah.
anthology, so they're not connected. They're just their own separate things. So you could choose to watch whatever you want.
Right.
You don't have to see the bad stuff. So I see tier feels
That's a
fair.
good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this.
I haven't seen either, but I'm not watching it.
Yeah, neither am I. I'm
You put it have
sure
not seen it.
this could be S tier Star Wars, but we'll never
I
know.
doubt it. I hear nothing about it ever.
Yeah.
Anytime I ask about it, it's not worth watching. It's
Crickets.
just yeah. nothing nothing notable.
Yeah.
Is there Rebels on this list?
Oh my god. There isn't.
Okay, I was
Okay.
looking at it earlier. I was thinking about you could I think you could add stuff to it. Hold on one sec.
Yoink, it's
I
in
was
there.
sobbing a little bit, but now it's there. All right.
We'll put Rebels like put it right. You know, let's do Rebels now. Let's do Rebels after Andor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stand it first. All
Okay.
right.
Andor. You want to start this one off, or I start this one off?
I can start this one off because I think I have a different opinion to some people. So, Andor is a good Star Wars show. I think it's good. Um, have I feel like it is a little bit slow, and I also feel like to me it feels less Star Warsy, which is not bad. It's still a great. It just feels like another sci-fi show, if that makes sense to me. I still really enjoyed it, and I think it was good. The only other gripe I would have to say about the show is it's weird because all the other Star Wars shows, I felt like I wanted more, but with Andor, I felt like it was too much, and I felt like what was it, 18 episodes? How many episodes was it? Let me
That was
check
12.
again.
That was 12
It was
episodes.
12. Okay, it was 12 episodes. Comparative to most of the other live action shows being like 8 episodes, it felt long to me, and I felt like I kind of wished it was shorter. But other than that, I think it's a good Star Wars show. I think it's great.
Okay.
Um, probably one of the better Star Wars shows, but
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have really high thoughts on it. So yeah.
Speaking of people who have high thoughts on it, I think Andor is one of the best Star Wars projects just made. I agree with you
Mhm.
with that. It doesn't feel like Star Wars, and to me, that's not a bad thing. I think that Star
It's
Wars
not.
at
It's
this
not. It's
point,
not.
it's been very much a lot of the same.
Yeah.
Especially with a certain trilogy that had come out that we literally like talked about, like The Force Awakens, for example.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like we were just stuck in this universe that's been doing the same things over and over again. And a lot of the
Mhm.
projects feel so like similar, same like tone, same vibe. And I don't know. Andor to me just did something different. It did something way like just new. It was just
Yeah.
like I don't, it was just different. It was a different show. I think the last arc is one of the best just 4 episodes of Star Wars.
Uh-huh.
And like even alongside like, you know, I
That
guess we'll talk about it
jailbreak.
eventually,
That
but
jailbreak is incredible. Oh
it
my
is
god.
it's an incredible like moment. Like even to compare like, you know, side by side. I said like 4 episode arc, but even like to the last season of the Clone Wars. Like I still think
Yeah.
this is like I don't know if I'd say it's better. I don't know how like maybe even better. I don't know. I just like it a lot. I think it's just such a
Mm,
like the twist that he has to stay behind, and seeing
mm,
Cassian Andor's like story of how he got to this point and how he became a rebel, and just his story, and then like the speeches that that one guy, I don't know what the main the old guy's called, but his speech at the end was just so fucking powerful and stuff.
yeah.
And just like the actual heist itself, the characters in that heist were all like so well developed and made. They felt real. They all had their own like quirks, their own personalities. And it was just sick. I think it was just cool. Andor has one of the best like self-contained Star Wars stories in it.
Oh
Um
yeah.
to me,
Hmm.
this is like easily S tier Star Wars. I'll give it to you. Pacing wise, I do think that suffers at the beginning a lot. I still think it does a
Mm,
lot that's really interesting at the beginning. I think it's all really good. But I do think it's really
mm,
slow. But after episode 3, I think that it doesn't have those issues anymore. I think after that,
mm,
you get like a lot of that political stuff from Star Wars. You get like the rebels, how they kind of like came to be, how they're forming, how they work behind the
yeah.
scenes, how the Empire like works, how like evil they truly are, like with their like mind like
Right.
devices, how they use the screams of some species to like do like torture. Like it's insane. It's like dark how their prisons work, with like the lightning floor, like the electric floors. Like it's just really cool stuff, and it adds so much to the Star Wars universe in terms of just like I don't know, just locations, lore, um, devices, facilities, characters, like really compelling stories. I think Andor is like peak Star Wars, even if it has bricks in it, if you know what I'm referencing there when I say that.
Right.
But yeah, I'm gonna say Andor is like my favorite, like one of my favorite Star Wars projects, like just altogether. Probably,
Mm.
I don't even know, like, yeah, just my favorite. I'd say, it's my favorite. I think Andor is the most consistent Star Wars project. It's my favorite. Yeah, just straight up.
That's fair enough.
It's my S tier.
That's fair enough. I would personally like if it was my own list, I would put it like a very high A.
Mm-hmm.
But I get it. I get it. It's a great show. So I can't really. I'm not even gonna complain like you wanting to put it S tier because it is in terms of like it being like as good as it is. It's good enough to be up there. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's obviously we're comparing. If I'm comparing a show to a movie, we have Revenge of the Sith up there, which is debatably one of the best Star Wars movies ever. But also, I could you could have a good debate about Andor just as a show being better than Revenge of the Sith. So I don't mind Andor being an S tier at all.
Yeah.
No,
All right.
I totally get it. I'm
I'm gonna
okay
put
with
it
it.
S tier. All right then.
Hmm.
I'll put it above this one. I'm gonna respect Revenge of the Sith though. I'm gonna put it above it. Don't worry. All right.
um,
Rebels.
Rebels.
Yeah.
I love Rebels. Rebels is
I like
I
Rebels
feel
too.
like it's the most underrated
It gets a lot of hate.
Star Wars content. It really does, and it doesn't deserve the hate. I I really think it's some of the best Star Wars stories you can get.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I could really say about Rebels is maybe season one isn't as strong as the other seasons.
Yeah.
I feel like it was like still finding its footing in season one because it was like, oh, it's gonna be, it's another a kids show. But then they realized that majority of the people who are watching Rebels are actual like grown men and like
Yeah.
teenagers, and they're like, oh, maybe we should like actually make this better than what it
Mm-hmm.
is. I feel like I don't know, but anyways, Rebels I feel like is one of the most underrated animated cartoons. Period. Or
Yeah.
just animated, just underrated Star Wars in general.
Yeah. I agree.
I might be crazy in saying this, but uh,
It has one
I
of my
would
favorite
say it's
characters.
S tier.
S. Whoa. Well, I didn't expect an S tier.
High, like low S or high A.
Okay. Okay. It has one of my favorite Star Wars characters in it. I love Kanan. I think Kanan is one of
Canon
my
is
favorite.
fucking incredible.
Yeah, I think he is like his arc going from, you know, like I guess we see his origin in the Bad Batch, but like I
Mm,
don't know, him being a Padawan that survived like Order 66 to having to like, form this group of people and just like like I don't know,
mm,
his entire arc is just so it's good Star Wars. And we also get like a lot of in between episodes 3 and 4. That like section
mm,
of lore which we don't have a lot of, and this is like basically the only project in it, and it's good.
mm.
It's I guess uh, is there another project that happens in between?
I,
I guess
I
Solo.
don't solo, I guess, but
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I
Oh, and Obi-Wan.
there's so much about Rebels that I like. You get a
Hmm.
lot more Darth Maul. You get a little bit of Ahsoka versus Darth Vader. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Just Canon
Oh,
and
bro.
his
Yeah.
arc, and then like Canon is like his whole story arc and how he dies at the end. I think was
Is
beautiful,
it is. It is 100%.
beautiful. Darth Maul and his death too. I think his fight, although it was short, I think it was brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, having them
Um,
come together again to do
Absolutely
that last
brilliant.
fight. Yeah.
You know,
No, I agree.
um,
I
I think
don't
there's just so many underrated things about Rebels, and it's just I can't help myself but to say it's like damn near peak Star Wars, like
Yeah.
close to it.
That's
So
fair.
that's why I said S tier or like low A
Yeah.
or high A. Sorry, but
That's fair.
yeah,
I
that's my thoughts on that.
I think for me, Rebels that like that first season to me just isn't as strong. I think it's still a fine
Yeah.
start, and there's just a lot that I
Mm,
don't think that Rebels is quite. I think Rebels is a lot right, like lore wise, universe wise, character wise. I think it's a great Star Wars story.
mhm.
I'm okay with giving it an A tier. Yeah. I'm leaning more towards like high B, but I'm okay with giving it an A tier. I could bump it up that
Fine.
much. It's
I
a
might
really
be a
good
little bit
Star
biased
Wars.
for those. I really like Rebels.
Yeah.
The people also just side note, the people that I've recommended Rebels to has ended up loving it, and it makes
Hmm.
me happy because it's just like I feel like it's just such an underrated piece of Star Wars, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, and like I even recommended it to my dad. I watched it with my dad, and my dad was like, used to be so against like animated like films and shit
Hmm.
just because like animated means for kids. And then I remember making my dad watching not only Rebels but Clone Wars as well,
Yeah.
and he was just stunned because he was like, wow, these
Yo,
stories are
this
really
shit
well written,
this shit slaps.
it's good stuff. Yeah, so
Hmm.
yeah, I think A is fair as well.
Yeah, that is true. Star Wars Rebels is underrated. I think it gets a lot more hate. I've seen like some hate for it.
Hmm.
That's good. I think it's good. I agree. I've never been like a part of the Star Wars Rebels like hate train that kind of exists out there. I like it a lot.
Hmm.
So A tier. A tier is fair. Now, why is the clone? Oh, this is the movie. Oh, that's right. The Clone Wars
Oh,
movie.
it's the move. Oh,
Oh,
that it's kind of just.
d-
I'm not gonna say too much about it. It's kind of just mid. It's kind of like
yeah.
middle of the road, kind of.
I think it looks
It's not
ugly
really
though
that great.
too.
Yeah. I
You know
wouldn't mind if
what?
you put it in D or C.
Yeah, the
So
D slot's
that's
looking
just
really
me.
like empty right now. Low key.
Hmm.
I think this one like you said it for you disrespected Visions with it, but I think like the Clone Wars movie
Yeah.
might just be the perfect place for it. Just
Hmm.
warm up that D slot.
Just to fill it in. You know,
Yeah. Like I
missing
don't know.
puzzle piece.
I mean, I like that it starts it off like one of the best shows in Star Wars, but we'll get to that. But God, it was not a good movie. It looked bad. It oof. I mean, it did have a funny moment though. I don't know if this is a show or the movie, but it had Obi-Wan negotiating his surrender. I think this was this movie.
I think it was too. I think I could be mistaken.
Yeah, I don't know. Him negotiating his surrender and like instigating that one guy became a meme. I like that meme. Made me
Mm.
chuckle. So you know what? D tier is fair. The
Yeah.
Mandalorian. Now this one's interesting because there's 3 seasons of The Mandalorian, and I think each season
Yeah.
is way different. Should we talk about Mandalorian separately per season?
Sure. Let's do that.
All right, let's talk
I'm
about
always down to Star Wars talk, so
yeah.
I'm ready.
let's put this one like we'll just average it out. However we feel about the Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
So Mandalorian season 1. How did you feel about it?
Oh man, it's been a while since I've seen season 1,
Yeah.
but season 1 is a very, very strong start.
Mm-hmm.
It's I guess kind of debatably the best season. I guess
Yeah.
I don't know, but it is a very strong start to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I mean, it was like the rebirth of Star Wars after the
yeah,
the
yeah, it
yeah.
was such a breath of fresh air because of all the terrible stuff that they made us watch. You know?
Yeah. It was really nice. Low key, I think this show saved like Star Wars. I don't think there's
Honestly, that's not a bad take. I kind of agree.
without because
Yeah,
I feel so much of the energy was dying out, and this one like brought
yeah.
it back. If there had been like one or two more bad projects, I think it would have been over. I think Star
Mm-hmm.
Wars would have been cooked.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think much could have saved it from it. But season 1, I think starts off well. We got like, Grogu. We got Mando. Awesome characters, super cool. We got their like story, very emotional. That one robot, I forgot his name. It's a bunch of
Yeah.
letters and numbers, but
Oh, I almost forgot about that arc. That was so good.
like yeah, it was
Oh my
like good
god,
as shit. And
yes.
also that it was like set up earlier on, and then it gets paid off like later in the same season. It's just cool.
Oh,
It's
and
cool to
then
have the story do that.
what was that other dude? People were mimicking the way he talked too.
This is
Was
the
that
way.
season 1 as well?
Yeah, it was.
This is the way. Oh
This is
my
the way.
dude. Yeah, season 1 might be the best season actually.
Yeah, and I
Season 2
had
is
like
also really good too though.
yeah.
But yeah.
Season 2 is kind of like
Um
them more exploring and stuff. It's a bit like different. Season
mhm,
1 felt more like focused and more
mhm,
like its own, self-contained story thing.
mhm.
Season 1 also had some really cool characters. Um, yeah. I think season 2, maybe it's more fair to split the show up in between season 1 and 2 together, and then to
Yeah.
split it up at season 3. I think
Okay.
season 3 is like a way different. I think season 1 and 2 are more comparable to each other, where I think
Yeah.
there is a dip in quality in my opinion from season 1 to 2. I think 2 is worse, but
Yeah.
not by like a huge margin. I think
Mhm,
2 is just slightly more unfocused compared to 1. I think 1 just had a really
mhm.
good story to tell. It was more like tightly woven together, and season 2 just didn't
Yeah.
have that,
I
in my
think
opinion. Well, like, it was still there,
I
but it
think
wasn't just as yeah.
mhm. I think season 2 also was part of the reason why I think some people might say like, "Oh, Star Wars content on Disney Plus is just episode here and there," and then, "Oh, remember this guy that you like? You see this guy? He's making an
Yeah,
appearance.
that
Oh
too.
man, that makes it good, right? You see, it's Ahsoka in live
It's just
action for the
so
first. Oh,
oh no way,
oh look,
dude.
it's
Oh, look,
Mando. Oh
it's
man.
Luke.
Oh
It's
look,
Luke.
Luke
Boba
Skywalker.
Fett. Oh my god. No way, dude. That's true. You know what? That did start the that trend. But
Yeah.
man, but they were cool though. They were cool.
I don't think it was. I
Yeah.
don't think any of them were necessarily bad to put in,
But
but
they
it definitely
started off the
started that.
trend of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of it becoming
Um.
bad. And
Um.
I
mhm,
think that how Moff Gideon's like story wrapped up, I think was sick. I think having Luke
mhm,
Skywalker be the one that comes in and does that makes so much sense. Even though I feel like it makes sense. Luke would be around doing that type of stuff. Like he would be doing that at this point in the universe. So I'm not like I don't hate their cameos. I don't hate that these characters appear.
mhm,
I think at this point in the Mandalorian, and I
mhm.
mean even earlier with like the Clone Wars or Rebels, Star Wars is already starting to face a problem of there have too many characters out there that
Yeah.
need to have like they would be around. They would be doing things. But it's
Yeah.
still like a giant universe, you know? So it's
Yeah.
not like we don't need to have Ahsoka, Luke, or all these people in the same place all the time. Or maybe Ahsoka and Luke do need to be in the same place because it just makes sense. They
Yeah.
would meet if they were still alive. But
Yeah.
I think like having the Mandalorian crossover with Ahsoka and all that stuff as much as they did, part of it bothers me because it's like I kind of wish we got like that own like the like I don't know just the Mandalorian and Grogu, a more Mandalorian focused story, which maybe I should
Yeah.
like be careful what I wish for considering what happened next. But um,
To be fair, with the whole Ahsoka thing,
yeah,
I mean, I get it. Like,
yeah,
it's a force sensitive baby and
exactly.
stuff.
That's what I was gonna
But
mention as well. Like,
yeah.
he's not just a Mandalorian. It's also a
Hmm.
former Jedi, or not former Jedi, I guess. Well, what is Grogu? I mean, I guess former now. He quit. Oh, bro, he
It's just
quit.
force sensitive,
Oh,
I
I just
guess.
remembered how it
That's
happened
enough.
too.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later. We're not there yet. Um. Oh, I just remembered that. Ugh. Oh, it happened in between the seasons too. Okay, season 3 of The Mandalorian. Oh, actually, no, I mean, okay, how do you feel about season 1 and 2? Sorry, how do you feel about seasons 1 and 2?
So I do think through season 1, 2, and 3, it progressively gets worse. It's like season 1 is the best, 2, and then 3. That being
Mm.
said, though, I still like season 3. I just don't think it's
You
as
like season
nearly as
3? Alright.
strong. I didn't hate it. I know that some people don't like it,
Mm-hmm.
but I thought it was just fine.
Yeah.
I don't really have too many issues with it. Um, yes, if I were to rank it, like if I were to go a little bit more in depth, like if season one was a 9, season 2 is maybe like a high 7, low 8, and then season 3 is I would actually probably still rewatch season 3. I enjoyed it
Mm-hmm.
every episode, but
Yeah.
I'd probably just give it like a low 7,
A
like
low.
a
Whoa.
7-1.
7 territory? That's shocking. Nah, for me,
Um, but I still think it was good. But yeah,
the problem with season 3 is that
uh
okay, so in season 1, right, we have Jin, like that's his name, right? No, Din. Is it Din or what
Din
was his
Djarin,
name?
I think. Is that
No,
right?
the Mandalorian. In season 1,
Yeah.
we have him like kind of learn to like be around robots type stuff. That was like the whole point of like the
Yeah.
guy that like self-destructed and did all that. And then in season 3, we kind of have him going back to like beating the shit out of like those droids in whatever episode that happened in season 3. And to me that just feels like kind of like walking back his character a bit, like going back to
Oh,
his droid hate.
right. That's a good point. Yeah.
And I kind of understand with some of those droids because they were the ones that like killed his parents and like his whole thing.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of understand maybe like going back to that would have been cool, but it wasn't just like he hated just those one couple of droids. He was like back to where he was before, where he hated all droids again. And I think that's just like
Right.
walking it back. It's kind of like not consistent. And then obviously at the end of season 2, we had them split up, the Mandalorian and Grogu. And
Yeah.
then, somehow, magically, who knows how, they're back together in season 3. Which
Right.
I say that we know what happens, but we don't talk about that yet.
Yeah.
It's just very unsatisfying. I don't think that it's very cohesive. It kind of undoes a lot of what happened in season 2. Something that should have been resolved through season 3. Like them coming back together should have been done
Right.
through season
Mm.
3 instead. I think the way they
Mm.
handled it was probably the most messy, just a atrocious way to handle it. Because
Yeah.
that's just bad. It's just really bad. And I don't know, the stories just felt weaker to me. And especially what happened with the dark saber. Oh my god. What happened to the dark saber? Holy shit. Having all this build up around it. All this like big hoopla about the dark saber. And it just gets destroyed like that. Like just instantly. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying that like that was a bad decision to destroy the dark saber, but it just happened way too soon. There needed to be more.
Right.
And also the way that they just passed it around. They just handed over. Like, oh, this person bested me in combat. And then they bested that person in combat. So technically they own the dark saber now. And then everyone's just like, oh, okay, we accept that. What? Dude. Dude, like I don't know, just like this whole big like fuss about the dark saber, and it's just thrown away. And then to me, I also kind of hate how the Mandalorian armor, how it's handled in the third season, because sometimes they
Mm,
feel invincible, and other times they aren't, and it feels more like whenever it's convenient to be,
right.
than when it's actually like consistent, you know. And also sometimes
Mm,
they use their jetpacks, sometimes they don't. I guess it's more like a nitpick type of thing, but it's also more of like, it's also like the writers should have been more careful with it to not put these characters in situations where like, oh, they could have flown and escaped something. I don't remember the exact scenario, so I'm not gonna like, hold on too much to that like problem. But I remember like when it had come out that there was like this one moment in the show. Maybe I'll find it like later on. But like where they could have flown, they could have used like their equipment to get out of a situation, but they didn't, and it was kind of an unsatisfying scene to me. I think it was like towards when they were protecting the city from that one guy invading.
right.
I don't know. It's whatever. I think I'm talking too much about this. Uh, Mandalorian season 3. I just think it's a way bigger fall off. I'm gonna say it's like a 5, 6 had 6 to me. A 6.
That's fair.
Uh,
That's fair.
and then the rest are like a 9 and an 8. Well,
Yeah.
an 8 and an 8 and an 8. No, 8. 8, 7, 5. That's what I'm gonna say. Season 1, I think is an. I'm conflicted. Maybe a 9. No, okay, low 9 for season 1. For season 2, I'd give it like an 8 to a high 7, and then I think season 3 is just a 5. It's terribly mid.
That's fair enough.
So
Um,
compared to everything else, though, that's the question.
Me personally, I would just go like a low A.
Okay.
Just because season 1 and 2 are so strong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have like the exact same feelings that you have with season 3, but
Yeah.
I totally get the criticism. I definitely do. Um, so yeah, I would say like a low A.
Okay.
Um, but I don't know how you feel.
I'm feeling like a high B.
High B.
I don't. I almost feel like I prefer the Force Awakens over Mandalorian. Not season 1, but like if I had to rewatch the Force Awakens or all of the Mandalorian, like I don't know. I mean, I guess it's not really fair because it's a TV show. It's a lot longer, but I don't know. Season 2 and 3, I think, are worse than the Force Awakens. Low key, Force Awakens. Keep on forgetting the S.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, low key for me.
Mm.
But I think season 1, yeah, I'll give it a low A. I don't mind. I don't mind the low A. I think season 3 for sure belongs like in C tier for me. I
Mm.
would say maybe even D tier. Honestly, I put it in D tier for season 3. I really don't like season 3. I think it's just because of how much it undoes and just how inconsistent it is compared
Mm.
to the rest of the show. I'd say B tier. I think B tier for me. High B in general.
I'm okay with that.
Okay. It's simply because of just how much like season 3 really did ruin it for me.
Mm.
Oh, oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. The Book of
Boba
Boba
Fett.
Fett. Boba Fett. So,
All
how'd you feel
right.
about the Book of Boba Fett?
Boba Fett. It had potential. That's the thing that makes it even worse.
Yeah.
Is that it had potential.
That could have been great.
I think the thing that I enjoyed the most by far about that show was his backstory, and I thought his backstory was really cool. But the rest of the show was like, I just didn't care. I don't know. I just him being this like badass, right? And then just to have him be like this like semi-hero was kind of just I don't know. I wasn't too interested in the choreography as well. Was really never forget the spin before you shoot a gun. Oh man,
Oh, of course.
never forget. It's very important. It adds more to what you're shooting. It makes it do more damage.
Of
Of
course,
course,
of
don't
course.
forget.
You gotta do the spin.
Um
You gotta do the rotations. It had a lot of
um
goofy shit in it. This is
yeah,
a
it really
goofy
did.
ass show.
And then it's so sad because the best episodes are not even Boba Fett episodes. It's
Yeah.
literally just Mandalorian. It's
It's
just like
just all like Din Djarin's story. Like it's oh god,
yeah.
man.
It's like,
How
why
do
are
you
we
fuck up that
watching this?
badly?
Like, I'm enjoying it, but like,
Like why is it here?
Why is it here?
It should have been
Why
season
can I
3.
have 10 episodes of season 3 for the Mandalorian rather than just you fucking put in this random 2 episodes in the book of the Boba Fett for no reason?
Yeah. Yeah, no. Like it's oh god, it's so bad. It did not belong here. It really did not. It's good. It's good because it's here. I think honestly those are the 2 best episodes of the entire series. I think
100%.
I agree with you that Boba Fett's like backstory lore. I think it's cool. I know a lot of
Yeah.
people didn't like it when it first came out. I didn't feel that
I
way.
thought it was
I
other
never
than
understood it.
the Mandalorian episodes, I think his backstory was the most interesting thing about that show.
Yeah, and then it's the current day, present day stuff that really fall off. And then also you add
Yeah.
on that they just undo what happened in Mandalorian season 2 through the course
Yeah.
of 2 episodes in a different show. It's just
Yeah.
wild to me. It's
Yeah.
insane, and they're good episodes, but it's so unsatisfying to see
Yeah.
in this form and how they did it. It's
Uh-huh.
honestly, it should have been more focused on Boba Fett. I think his character is also a joke because everyone else is doing shit while he's like getting his ass beat, spending some time in a pool. When in
Yeah.
Mandalorian season 2, we saw him be badass as shit. We saw him
Yeah.
like kill a couple of guys, do his thing. Like it was awesome. And then he just
Mhm.
falls off. Like what happened?
It
Um,
almost makes you feel like they don't know what. Well, obviously they don't know
well,
what
they
they're doing
don't know
with
what they're
Boba
doing.
Fett, but
They don't know
like
what they're doing.
it makes me
Period.
feel like Boba Fett is like. It makes me like after watching him, it's like, man, Boba Fett should have just stayed a side character, bro. He was more cooler that way. Like
Yeah.
maybe he didn't need a show, but then again, I feel like you could definitely make a good show
Oh,
with
for
Boba
sure.
Fett. It's just what they did. Anyways, I would put him D. I
Yeah.
would put it D.
Yeah. No,
Um,
I agree. I don't know. I like the show more than it sucks so much. I think this is more like overall disappointment, not necessarily the quality of the show. Cause I feel
uh,
like if I'm doing quality wise alone, I put it like in C tier. Maybe
uh,
like a high C. But you know what? It does so much wrong. It could have been so much better. And it just fucks like it retro like not retroactively. Like at the same time fucks over like the Mandalorian too. I moved this by
yeah.
mistake. Um Simply because it has like his arc in there. It makes no sense. It's messy. Yeah. Yeah, just D tier. Yeah, fuck this show. Um should have been better. Wasted potential. Womp
Right.
womp.
Womp womp.
Obi-Wan. Oh, speaking of missed potential. Hmm.
So the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. The Obi-Wan Kenobi show is it is something that should have never even existed. It's not even like okay, Boba Fett, right?
It
Like
shouldn't
okay, he's
have
a cool
existed.
character.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, it should have been a movie first of all if they were
Mm-hmm.
going to do it. It's number 1. Number 2, taking a character that in the time frame that he was at is supposed to be off in the desert looking after Luke Skywalker. That's boring as fuck.
Yeah.
Why are you taking a character like that and then forcefully being like, all right, he's a very popular character. All right. He's easily one of the most popular characters. Let's force him to do shit just for plot, just for content.
Mm-hmm.
And then have Leia. I mean, I guess it's cool seeing young Leia, I guess, but it's also like they do some like very Disney stuff and very kid
Yeah.
show stuff
Oof.
where it's just like this
The one chase
really
scene.
bad. Yeah, the one chase scene, you know what I'm talking
Oh
about.
God. No.
It's just not good. I
Mm-hmm.
think,
That
man,
one chase scene.
I don't hate the show.
Mm-hmm.
I think it should have been a movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
I think it was
it's
originally supposed to be a movie, but
it
they
was it
changed
was
it.
it was supposed to be a movie. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it would have benefited
Um,
so much more because of like just everything. Probably a higher budget would have been
yeah.
better for it. Better direction. Maybe it would have
Probably would have
chosen
made more
someone
money
else.
too. Actually,
Yeah.
definitely
Better.
would have made more money if it was a movie.
And they would have been more careful with it if they made it a movie or made it better. And
Yeah.
also at least fix up the pacing issues that it has. I disagree with you I think that telling Obi-Wan's story in between
I think
episodes
it's
3
fine.
and
I don't like the way that they went about it.
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
continue.
I think seeing Obi-Wan, because I think that the beginning of the show, the first episode, is really good. Seeing like Obi-Wan in that
Hmm.
state is
I
like
agree.
that's compelling. I think that's like a really compelling story. Like considering what the fuck just happened beforehand. Like he was always someone who was like very strong. Like even through like the Clone Wars, like we see him, he has like an arc for it. In episode 3, all that just happened. Like, in this one he lost like the love of his life at some point.
Mm.
Well, what could have been. In this one, like his fucking brother died. He had to like put him down.
Yeah.
The entire like his entire like extended family, I guess to say in quotation marks. Like all the Jedi are gone. Like everything is fucked. Everything is fucked as
Yeah.
shit. And seeing like, someone who's that powerful and that like, strong-willed like finally reach that point where like it's just like I can't do this shit anymore. I think it's compelling. I think it makes
Yeah.
sense. Because Obi-Wan has always been like a very strong character. He's always been very like
Yeah.
strong-willed. But even I think it's more like interesting to give him like that point where he's just like I can't handle it anymore,
At his
and he
lowest,
reaches this
right?
low. And
Yeah, I really like
I
that
think I
too.
think this is like the appropriate time for it. I think that first
Uh,
episode set it up to be really good. I think seeing him
yeah.
like make those decisions to not help out that one guy that needed help was cool. Seeing what's it Luke's uncle like doing
Yeah.
his like doing that stuff, being there was sick. I think it was like
Mhm.
really cool. I think the beginning was good until it wasn't.
Yeah, the main thing when I talk about like it shouldn't have happened is just like putting them on that goose chase
Yeah.
of just it's that's just I let me see like they showed it a little bit at the very end of the show, but if you're gonna go into the story of Obi-Wan Kenobi in this time frame,
Hmm.
go into the story of this time frame, not just put him on a goose chase. You know how interesting it would be to see Obi-Wan like training to learn how to be a Force ghost.
Yeah, that's what it
You
should
know
have
how
been.
cool that would be?
That's
That's what it should have
100%
been.
what it should have been. I think their worst
Mhm.
decision was including, and I think it's cool. I think conceptually it's cool to try to make it like somehow tie into to Leia. I think that was a very interesting decision.
Yeah.
I don't hate that, but it needed to be handled
Uh-huh.
very carefully. And
Yeah, I
I
agree.
think having Leia even show up in the Inquisitor's like fortress is already fucked up. I don't think that should have happened at any point. Like that whole thing should not have happened, because it's just I don't know. It does too much. It puts too many eyes on Obi-Wan, because I feel like at that point you have Obi-Wan, like they know he's alive, they know he's around, and the whole reason why they don't chase him anymore is because Palpatine told Darth Vader, "Stop chasing Obi-Wan." What?
Yeah.
Like I don't. It's just stupid. It's dumb. I think they should have just avoided that entirely and focused
Yeah.
maybe on like a smaller scale story following Obi-Wan, his like own suffering. And I know that people wanted to see
Mhm.
Anakin Skywalker, and something I saw
Oh yeah,
online a lot
100%. Yeah.
was like, oh, you to tell the Obi-Wan story, you have to have Anakin. Why?
No, you don't.
You don't. You shouldn't. Their story
Mhm.
ended right here and right here. This is where it wraps up. This is like their story. And then you see it once
Yeah.
again for like episode 4. You see that like that one little conclusion that they have,
Final conclusion. Yeah.
and like their meetup
Hmm.
again. And it should have just been him like trying to find himself again, coming back to like being like that, Ben, the Obi-Wan character, like just him
Hmm.
getting out of the gutter. Getting out of that bad mental. Lost too many Fortnite matches. He has to like bring it back. That should have been
Right.
what it was. That should have been what it was. And it was just bad. I think it's just bad. It handles it badly. Some scenes are shot awfully. It looks all right sometimes, but other times it's just ugh, ugh. Other
I
times
will
are
say
like
one
so
thing
terrible.
though. They did indeed handle Darth Vader correctly. I love Darth Vader in this show.
Okay,
I
his
know
story, his character, yeah, I think his character was handled
it's
well.
it's I don't really like the whole goose chase thing, but like seeing Darth Vader, it again I don't really think it should have happened, this whole thing, but I cannot say that I didn't love this show, because I did love this show, because
Mm,
I got to see a lot of cool things. Darth Vader just being powerful as fuck, stopping
stopping the
the
ship was
ship
sick.
with,
Yeah.
and like him burning, and Obi-Wan being like, this is the shit that you did to me. You're gonna feel this shit now too. And like that final boss fight was also really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it had
yeah,
yeah.
I'm not gonna not like that. It's
Yeah,
fucking
I
cool.
agree. It is cool. I don't think they handled it carefully enough. That's the only thing for me. They didn't
Yeah, I
handle it
agree.
carefully enough.
Hmm.
And I feel it was I think they did do a good thing there with showing Darth Vader like not be at the emotionally stable point that he is later on. Cause like we see this not like we don't see Anakin here, but we see like elements of that more immature, aggressive Anakin, Darth Vader. We see more of that aggressive, like
Right,
immature Darth Vader who's still trying to figure it out, who's still a bit more, emotional. And later on,
right,
like through episode 4 and 5 and 6, is where we see that more refined Vader. Even in Rebels, we see a refined, like Vader, one that's like very calm, composed, like who's still like
right.
very, full of rage and still does shit, but it feels more methodical when he gets mad in those moments. It doesn't feel like it's just random or just for shits and giggles. And this one is more like he seems like Kylo Ren in a way in this one. Like that with that like
Right.
very sudden rage
Hmm.
and stuff. And like how he feels
Hmm.
towards like Obi-Wan and how it kind of blinds him in
Right.
a way. Maybe not like Kylo. Maybe
Right.
Kylo Ren's a bit of maybe a little extreme to say Kylo Ren, but kind of like that
Hmm.
vibe though. Like not quite,
Hmm.
but similar, like getting there, type being.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I think it was cool. I think there's some really cool stuff about it, but overall, I don't think they handled it well enough. And a lot of those scenes, like the way they were shot, and I think the performances were good though. I like overall, like there's just a lot that the show did good, but so much that it did bad in my mind,
Yeah,
and
it's
what they
just
should have
a
done.
toss up of a show, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot good and a lot bad. It's it overall though. I still feel like it's decent.
Yeah.
I would put it low B, or somewhere in C.
I think somewhere in C. For me, like,
I like it more than Visions, but then again, I didn't really watch all of Visions, so take that
yeah,
with a grain of salt.
yeah. I think that's fair. I think C is fair. I don't think I quite put it in B tier. It doesn't feel right to put it in B. It's
Yeah,
something about it just doesn't.
it's fair.
All right. Hmm. Hmm. The Bad Batch.
Bad Batch.
The Bad
Hey,
Batch. I like the Bad Batch. I think that
I like the Bad Batch a lot too.
The Bad Batch first episodes of season 1 were
Oh
so
man.
good, bro. And then the ending too of season 1 was so
Oh
good. I
man.
think Bad Batch has
Yes.
like some of the most consistent highs for animated Star Wars. Maybe
Oh
not
yeah.
with yeah, I think I know that's a fair statement. Season 2, same thing. I think that the endings and the beginnings were strong. And then now for
Mhm.
season 3, I don't know if you've seen it or not. But season 3,
I've seen all the episodes so far.
yeah, I think it has a really strong. I think so far season 3, it's still premiering by the way. To give you guys like
Yeah.
this when it's recorded, but season 3 is still coming out. I think season 3 has such a strong start. I really enjoy the start of this season.
Me too.
Um,
I've been invested in this story right
yeah,
now.
with
I'm
the
not gonna
other
lie.
Bad Batch seasons, they kind of lose me. In the midway sections of it, I just don't feel
Especially
as
season two, I feel
yeah,
like
especially season
midway
2.
through season two, it was actual like filler episodes in there. It
Mm-hmm.
feels
Yeah,
like maybe one or two of them is like actual, like I did not need that episode,
yeah.
but I
I
still
don't.
enjoyed it. It's
Yeah,
just,
I
you
usually
know.
don't mind filler stuff because I think they at
Mm,
least add like more character things and they give us like more perspectives into those characters and a bit more time with them. But
yeah.
if it's like good, and to me, it just wasn't good. For me,
Mm,
I just didn't. I thought they were more boring. Maybe not like bad, just more boring compared to what was
right.
happening. But I still think that the Bad Batch's highs are super good. And right now for season 3, shit, I hope they keep it up because it's good. Um, but I like the characters. I think the characters are really cool. The entire squad is just awesome. They're just cool to see. I like them.
Yeah, I fuck with Bad Batch heavy, so
Mm-hmm.
I would want to say A
Hey, I agree.
tier,
I agree. A tier.
right next to Rebels.
Yep. No, I completely
But
agree. It
mhm,
is. Yeah, this is fair.
yeah.
Yep. All right. Now we have Star Wars:
Clone
The
Wars! Sorry,
Clone
let me chill. Let me
Wars.
chill.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
Oh,
So,
dude,
yeah,
bro.
this is one of the shows of all time, and I mean that in a very positive way, not in the negative shows of all time type of way.
Yeah.
This show is a banger. The characters,
Yes.
the progressions, the arcs, the storylines, it's just everything about it is just so good.
Mm.
Like just oh oh god, I'm gonna let you talk a bit. I'm gonna let you talk a bit for this one.
Sorry, let me chill. Let me chill. I
Chilling,
get
chilling.
excited about Clone Wars, bro.
No, that's fine, bro.
Guys, let me chill. Let me chill. Let me chill. All right, so Clone Wars is perfection. It takes it takes a trilogy of movies that people looked at, and mainly 1 and 2, and people were talking bad about them, and it really actually improves those movies. Like if you watch Clone Wars along with those 2 movies, it makes you appreciate the prequels as a whole so much more.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's oh, hold on. Am I getting
Oh,
pinged?
oh
I'm
no.
getting pinged. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, sorry. What was I saying? Oh yeah. What was the last thing I just said?
That's a
Clone
good
Wars,
question.
Clone Wars, Clone Wars. Yeah, Clone Wars is absolutely amazing, and like it is. I have a lot of love for it, obviously because I just really love the show. But also, it's one of the first like shows I got my dad to watch that was animated, and I was like, "Listen, I was telling my dad like this might appear just to be another animated kid show, but it's not. It is peak Star Wars. It is some of the best Star Wars you will ever see.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Mm-hmm.
easily debate Clone Wars to be the best of Star Wars can give.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
um, I I remember when they were releasing season 7, man, and I was so excited. Say what you will about season 7, but those last 4 episodes,
Bro, that's hot.
I
Oh,
oh
oh.
those last 4 episodes were a movie.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes when I go on my movie marathon, sometimes I'll literally watch those last 4 episodes of Clone Wars along with Revenge of the Sith because it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
It deserves it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I 100%
And
agree.
and
It's
the other thing with Clone Wars is like it doesn't feel like a cluster of like random stuff.
mm-hmm.
Although it's a bunch of different like story arcs and characters. It
Yeah.
manages to tell so many stories with so many different characters and make you like still be invested. Sorry, I'll let you go. Sorry.
No, no. And then also like giving the clones their own like
Yes.
personalities. And that's like a
Yes.
huge, massive part. It added so much to this universe in terms of lore. The whole thing with the chips, it makes the clones also so much more tragic. Because before, like, we don't get to see like their relationships with the like even in episode 3 we kind of see it. In episode 2, not really episode 2. Episode 3 we kind of see like, you know, Obi-Wan with Cody and stuff. We don't really get to see their relationship too much. We don't see that. And in the Clone Wars, we see that. We see that these guys, these soldiers are like people and stuff. They're like, they all have like their own lives and their whole like dilemma trying to figure out like what they want to do and like what's their purpose outside of the war as well. And like these chips in their brain and all this, like it's some deep stuff. And like the one storyline about the Jedi that was a little corrupt, didn't care about their lives. I say a
Yeah.
little corrupt, but pretty corrupt. And like just didn't give a shit about them, and how they had to like turn against him, and
Yeah.
like, it's just like really good storytelling. And the last 4
Mm.
episodes are peak Star Wars. easily some of the best. Like that seeing Order 66 has always been like, some of the best scenes in Star Wars. It always has
Right.
like the most emotional stuff, and
Mm.
and just weight to it. It's always very interesting. Like in the Bad Batch, we got to see it from Kanan's perspective, and
Right.
in obviously Revenge of the Sith. That's the entire thing. But it's always like
Mm.
interesting to see it happen. See it go down.
Yeah.
I think the Clone Wars is easily handles it the best in my mind,
Oh, 100%.
and overall has some of the best storylines and best stories, and like it's where my love for Star Wars began. Like this was the show. Like this is the show that got me like
100%.
hooked and locked in on Star Wars. This is why I'm complaining about the sequel trilogy now.
Right.
This is what started it for me. This is where
Right.
it
Right.
began.
Right.
So,
To add on to what you were saying earlier with like the clones and stuff, I really like how they gave like you said, like every clone had their own personality. Like they're not just clones; they're their own people. It didn't really feel like they were clones. They were just doing their thing, right?
yeah.
And um, the I think what I really really like about the show is them explaining like why they were able to like switch so easily when it came to Order 66
Mhm.
and stuff with the chips in their heads. I
Yeah.
loved. I remember watching. I think it was in season 6. I don't remember what episode it was in season 6, but the whole episode with that clone going rogue and being like, "Yo, there's chips on our heads, bro," and then nobody like
And no one
believing
believes
him,
him. It's
and then
tragic, man.
it's tragic and it's genius.
Yeah.
I I love. I just love. I love Clone Wars, man. There's so many good things I
Mhm.
could say about it.
Yeah. Yep, yep, yep. And then also like we even see even more of it later on in the Bad Batch too, which this is the show
Right.
that set that all up to happen
Mm-hmm.
later on, and it's just good. This is peak Star Wars. This might just be peak Star Wars. I think it's an S tier, but now the question is, where in S tier? How do you feel like where in S tier do you think this show belongs? Because I don't think it's a question that it's not an S tier.
Oh yeah, it's definitely S tier. So we're talking about how like actually good it is and not. I'm trying not to be biased and like everything. Like I honestly, Clone Wars might be peak Star Wars. Like just actual peak Star Wars. It might be the best
Mm-hmm.
there is to offer when it comes to Star Wars. I I honestly want to say at the top of S tier in my opinion, but I don't know
I'm
how you feel about that.
I think for me, Andor mixed it up a lot. I think it did a lot
Yeah.
to like kind of like mix it up in my head. Like
Mm-hmm.
the Star Wars formula, it did so much like new, and it has some of my favorite scenes in Star Wars.
Yeah, Andor is very
However,
different. Mm-hmm.
yeah, however, I still love the Clone Wars a lot more, and I
Mm-hmm.
think it's just much better. There are like some low points in the show, but I look back on those low points a lot, like very fondly. So, is there
Mm-hmm.
like a little bit of bias? Maybe, perhaps, but I know for sure 100% that the peaks are peak. Like they are good. Like maybe the low points, maybe I give them a little too many credit, too much credit.
Yeah,
But the high points, they deserve everything, bro. They are phenomenal. I
100%.
think I think like the Clone Wars is easily the best Star Wars. Um,
Mm.
maybe not easily anymore, just because I do love Andor a lot, and I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Maybe Andor is like a more recency type situation, and maybe just being so much more different to such a bleak new Star Wars. But also, it was
Mm.
just a really good show visually, and
Yeah.
just like what it did. So I don't know. It's my own
Mm.
internal debate. To be fair, it's not a bad internal debate to be having, and between which show is better when these are the two options for me. So
Mm.
yeah, I still think the Clone Wars is better though, simply because it's like more complete. I think it just has more like emotional moments. It has more like really good arcs,
Mm.
phenomenal characters that like truly invested in and stuff. So yeah, S tier,
Mm.
top of S.
Yeah.
So now
It's missing
Solo.
Rogue One.
We're missing Rogue One.
This Yep.
Damn,
I'm just noticing that.
damn.
I'm like, why is there no Rogue One? Hold on.
Damn, they have
Give me a
Andor,
second.
but not Rogue One. Ugh. So Solo this time with Rogue One on the list at least. Solo.
Mm-hmm. Solo. Solo is. I like Solo actually. I know some people don't like it as much. I don't think it's bad by any means. It's cool. I guess it's also cool seeing Darth Maul at the end as well. But
Mm,
Solo is it's kind of just middle of the pack. It's nothing great. I would just put it in C. I'm not even gonna chat too much about it.
okay.
I would just say C. I don't know what you think. What do you think about the film?
I like Solo. I think Solo is a fun movie. I
It
think
is.
that
Yeah.
I feel so bad. Um, sorry. For the main actor because I think he
Yeah.
did a good job as Han Solo, but he just
Yeah.
got so like hated for it, like a lot. And I don't like that Disney took like the lesson from Solo that they took was to never recast again
Yeah.
because I really don't like what they're doing with like the deep fake stuff and trying to like
The
modify
deepfake Luke
faces.
Skywalker and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like I
Yeah.
wish they would recast and do new like people for those roles because I feel like they could do so much
Yeah.
more with them. I think it's like holding them back a
Yeah.
lot. Like for example, Obi-Wan is technically in a way a recast. It's a new
He is
Obi-Wan
a
in there.
recast, and it's better.
Yeah,
Younger. uh, Ewan McGregor. Ewan is 100% a better Obi-Wan than the original Obi-Wan.
yeah.
100%.
And so I just I think I like Solo. I don't think it was a story that needed to be told.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think we needed to see the Kessel Run, but you know, I
Hmm.
mean, it's whatever.
Yeah.
We got it. I think like everyone in the movie did a good job. I still think it was cool. Not necessary, but cool. Um, you mentioned Darth Maul. I hated that Darth Maul was at the end because we
Oh
are
yeah.
now. Yeah, we are now. What is it? When did Solo come out? Like 20 something? 2016, 2017? I don't even know. Whatever. We're like many years from that point, and we have
Yeah.
gotten zero payoff to that post credit scene. It was just
No,
fan
absolutely
service
not.
for
Yeah.
fan service.
100% it
Like,
was.
I kind of I don't like that, but it doesn't affect how I feel about the film. I enjoy Solo. I think Solo is a fun watch.
Yeah.
That's like a
It's a
B
fun
tier.
movie.
That's like a low B tier
I'm
for
okay
me
with that.
personally. All right.
I'm okay. If you want to put a low B, I'm cool with that too. I actually really like Solo. I have had definitely some conversations with people just like trashing on Solo. I'm like, it's not even that bad. It's just a
It's not
fun
that bad,
film.
yeah.
What do you mean?
It's fun. I think it's goofy how he
Yeah.
gets his name though.
Yeah.
It's good, like it's kind of like anticlimactic, almost a little bit, but yeah, it's whatever. I think it's a fun film. It's a fun film. All
Mhm.
right, Rogue One.
I know a lot of people love this film, man. But I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna trash this film before what it's not what you're thinking. But I think it's not as amazing as everybody says it is. I feel like the main character, I forget her name. She's kind of just boring, and she's kind of just like, okay, I don't really make too many of my own decisions. I'm just gonna kind of go on with the story and just yeah, I'm gonna just keep going and truck it. This is I mean it's fine, but um, it's really the second half of the movie that makes Rogue One what it is. Um, I just I think it's a good film. I just don't think it's as amazing as everybody else says it is. But that's just my personal opinion. But I don't know. What do you think of Rogue One?
I liked Rogue One. I thought it
I
was a
like it.
fun movie. Um, I think it had
Hmm.
some really cool scenes, like that one, or how like the end of the movie is
Yeah.
the start of episode 4. That's sick. Like
Hmm.
that is cool. And it has like that one hallway scene.
Hmm.
Overall, I didn't hate the main character and like the whole like supporting cast. It has the guy that's like blind. He's like, I am one with the force is with me. Like that's some really cool
Yeah.
scenes.
Yeah.
I think it was a good story to tell, and it also explained like how it was so quote unquote
Mhm.
easy to destroy the Death Star. I think it like
Yeah.
filled in a lot of lore. It was cool to see a more like grittier
Mhm.
type Star Wars. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, I just liked it. I enjoyed the movie. Younger me was like this slaps. I remember, I think like younger me had a crush on her at some point. I was like,
I don't
man,
blame
she's
you.
so cool.
I
But
don't blame you at all, man.
yeah, man. But overall, I mean, I give like a B tier too. Honestly, I liked it. I like this movie.
Yeah, I liked it too. I just don't think I know some people will say like Rogue One is like also peak stars, and I'm just like
I don't.
I don't know, man. This
May,
it's the first half for me of the
maybe
movie, but
maybe it's because I haven't seen it in so long. Because to be fair,
uh-huh.
I did only see it once when I was like, okay, when did it come out? 2016. It's
Wow,
2024
2016,
now.
really?
Yeah. So
Wow.
I'm 21. Subtract 8. Oh Jesus. Oh fuck. Okay, so it was that long ago. Um so I don't know. Maybe I just don't remember it as much. Maybe it's a lot better. Maybe it's a lot worse. Probably not a lot worse. Probably even better than I remember. But I liked it a lot. I was enjoying it. I'd even put it an A to be honest. I wouldn't even mind putting it an A.
I will I'm fine with A because I know people like it, but I would say B, but I'm
Say
cool
B.
with either or.
I'm done with high
It's
B.
better than Solo. It's better than Solo.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm done
High
with high
B's
B.
fair, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it
Cause
is a good film. I'm talking about the film like it's bad, but like it's not bad. It's a really good film. I'm
yeah.
just I don't get the praise that some people give it. Some people
Mm-hmm.
are like praising it like it's the best thing ever. I'm like, I don't know about that. I feel like you just watched it and you got really excited because Darth Vader fucked up some shit in the end, bro.
Yeah.
But I need to rewatch the movie. It's been a while, but
Yeah.
I like it.
No, same.
Anyways,
All right. Tales of the Jedi.
it is very solid. Honestly,
It
it's just
is.
not much of it, but
Yeah.
it's very solid.
But what there is just
Um,
really good. It's a
I
good
uh,
story.
I can't wait for the next season. I want
Mm-hmm.
more of Tales of the Jedi. I think it's a brilliant concept, and I can't wait to see what other mini stories that we can get to know. Like, and also I'm also wondering like, are we gonna see like Sith stories as well, or is it just only gonna be like Jedi stuff? You
To
know.
be fair, the show is
Um,
called Tales of the Jedi.
so I don't. It's probably not gonna be any Sith stuff, but
I mean, it'd be cool
it
though. It'd be
makes me
cool either way.
want
Don't
it.
get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It'd be cool
Yeah,
either way,
yeah,
for sure. I wouldn't mind
yeah.
if they did it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they could honestly, they could. They could just like make a new show, call it Tales of the Sith or something, and just like drop it. Um, but no, that's true. It's just solid. It's really good. It told the story of Count Dooku. I think that was like necessary. It gives us a
It
lot
was
more
so
like
cool. Yeah.
information and just we get to see more of him. And then also
Mhm.
we get some of like Ahsoka. She has like a really cool scene towards the like in the last
Oh
episodes of
yeah.
her.
Hmm.
And this is really cool. It's really cool stuff. I think this show is really good, really solid. It's short,
Hmm.
it doesn't overstay and become bad. It's yeah, it's just really good. um That's like an A tier. It's also just really
I
good,
agree.
like animation
100%.
wise too. It looks good.
Hmm. Hmm.
Good story. Yeah, just yeah, A tier.
The only thing I could like, there's not, it's not really much holding it back, but yeah, it's just a really strong A. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
I I like I like Tales of the Jedi.
The only complaint is
It's
just
just
not having
short, but
more of it.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's really the only complaint. Yeah, Tales of the Jedi is really solid. So
I don't know.
you know,
It doesn't feel like I don't know if I'd put it in S tier maybe. Uh,
I S tier is not a stretch because I mean it's actually really good. It in terms of
yeah.
like as a show, there's not really much to complain about. The
Yeah, it's just
animation's brilliant. The
all of it's
story
just
is
really good.
great. Everything's good. So like,
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind giving it an
I
S
don't
tier.
mind it in S tier to be honest.
Well, man, I
It's not
remember
much, but
when I
it's
first watched
great.
it. When I first watched it,
Hmm.
I was a hater
Yeah.
because not like super hater, but a bit of a hater because I just didn't think that I thought the Ahsoka story was a little weaker, like especially towards like the mid part of it.
Yeah.
I wasn't as interested in that. Like there were still some moments. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was that I like didn't like. I think I gave it. Actually, no. Wait, what did I give it? No, you know what? I'm getting Kenobi and this one confused. I think I gave this one like a 9. No, I definitely gave this one a 9. Never mind.
Mm-hmm.
Forget everything I just said. S tier.
Mm-hmm.
Low
S
S,
tier?
low
Oh
S.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then oh oh Ahsoka.
You don't sound excited. Oh man.
No. No, I don't.
Did you not like Ahsoka?
I don't like what happens in Ahsoka. No. How did you feel
All
about
right.
Ahsoka? You seem more enthusiastic about it.
I like Ahsoka. There's definitely some things. It's not a perfect show. Not at all. But I I feel similar to it with the same thing with like I guess Obi-Wan, but not to the same extent. It's still a good show. It's just there's things about it that are just like unnecessary, and it's like, okay, well, why? And just some like poor storytelling here and there. But honestly, I enjoyed it. I liked it. As somebody who really likes Rebels, as I talked about earlier, it was really cool uh seeing Ahsoka happen. So because
Mm-hmm.
I, especially with the what happened at the end of Rebels, I was like
Yeah.
really excited to get into it. I was like, you know, but yeah, continue.
No, I agree
What do
with
you
you.
think?
Ahsoka, I think should have. It's good that it happened. I like that it did happen. What I
Mm-hmm.
don't like about Ahsoka though
Mm-hmm.
is just I think the ending soils a lot of it for me. I think that the
Uh-huh.
characters introduced are so cool.
Yeah.
Um, I always forget names, but the two like the former Jedi turned like into this bounty hunter type character type guy who works for the Empire. Like he's super cool. I wish I remembered his name. And the actor did a great job as him. And then the apprentice, like she was awesome. I loved her. I think I like simped on Twitter. Like it was phenomenal. Um,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I loved Ahsoka. I think the villains were like, I think my favorite part.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think Ahsoka. It was cool to see Ahsoka, but I just felt like it didn't feel right. It just didn't feel right sometimes with the show. And then towards the end, the whole thing with Sabine and how she acted, even throughout the show, just how she acted, it didn't compute in my brain. And then her like last power up where for some reason she can just yeet someone across like a huge chasm. Like
Oh,
it just felt like
yeah.
shit had
Uh-huh.
to happen and they didn't really have a way out of it. So they just made it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And the show just
Yeah.
overall, like, especially when Ahsoka was okay, as soon as what's his name, um, Grand Admiral Thrawn leaves, he dips. He's back in the main galaxy. Ahsoka and
Mm-hmm.
Sabine are trapped. Ahsoka's
Mm-hmm.
smiling. She's happy. She
Yeah.
seems like so unfazed, unbothered, and I guess fair. To be fair, like they're gone
Yeah.
the fuck out. They can't do shit anymore. But it's
Yeah.
so like it's just so like lame. Like that doesn't seem like a good
You
reaction.
think?
The tone
Uh-huh.
shouldn't be that. It's not like an uplifting thing. This is grim. This is like super grim. Ugh,
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
I to add to what you were just saying there, so Ahsoka being chill about her being stranded and stuff. I think it's more of just like they're definitely doing another season.
Mhm.
And they're at least from what I saw at the end of the show there, it looks like they're preparing for the whole I forget the characters' names, but um the whole gods and stuff. Hold on, I forget their names, but
The
the Mortis gods or whatever,
yeah, the
whatever they're
Mortis gods.
called.
Yeah, yeah,
So I think they're preparing for that, and like I hear people saying like, "Oh, Anakin's probably going to be the father, and
yeah.
Ahsoka might
Mhm.
end up being this," and like maybe she has a feeling that there's more to this place that we don't know, or something. I don't know what the whole thing was with her being happy at the end, or just being chill about it. But
Yeah,
I am honestly excited for the next season personally because I
I
was like,
am too.
oh, I didn't think they're gonna include the motor. I didn't think that this. I didn't think this is what it would be about. But I was like,
Hmm.
okay, let's see what happens in the next season, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I'm excited for what happens next, but I just think that they could have handled it a lot better. And the end, they really like fumbled.
Mm-hmm.
The fan servicey stuff with Ahsoka, like and Anakin, it's cool,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if I feel like too good about it either. It's just like
Yeah.
it's whatever. I don't feel like strongly, I guess, about it. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. Something about the show, like that ending, the way it's like kind of put together, how like
Mm-hmm.
Sabine survives the infinite stabbings, even the decision to make her
A Jedi.
a Jedi. I don't like that. Like
I
I understand
think
her
they should
having
have never
training.
made Sabine a Jedi.
Yeah.
Never.
I I don't mind her being like a force user, cuz it was teased
Uh-huh.
in Rebels. It was kind of like there like the seed of it. But I don't think she should have been a good
Yeah.
one, and she should have stuck more to being like a Mandalorian type beat, you know? But
Yeah.
with that,
I
like those
agree.
force abilities that she showed, it's just way too much in my opinion. Like way too much. I wish we got to see more of like the Mandalorian side and then keep that like force, like super strong force user to Grogu, you know? Keep it to
Right.
Baby Yoda, you know? Like keep it there. Don't like transfer it over to other characters. Cause then it feels like it loses a lot of the of what makes him special, you know?
Exactly.
He
Yeah.
feels less special now that there is like a born Mandalorian that does all that and has also wielded
Mm-hmm.
the dark saber before too. So like I don't
Here's the
know.
thing, right? Like, I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it out so it's like, oh, anybody could use the Force. It's kind of like a similar concept with the whole Spider-Man thing. Where it's like, oh, anybody can wear the mask. But
Yeah.
they say that, right? But like, you're not seeing like okay, obviously, in Across the Spider-Verse stuff, there's a bunch of Spider-Man, but that's because
They're like
it's a bunch of
they're the trained
crossover.
Spider-Man, yeah. No, but I get what you mean. Like
Yeah.
not like in the Star Wars universe, not
Hmm.
everyone is a super powerful, guy. Like not everyone
Hmm.
can like lift rocks and yeet them like miles and shit like that. Um,
Just because it can be, just because you can be, and like, yeah,
Not
I
everyone
get
should
it.
be like the chosen one.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And
Yeah.
just seeing her struggle extremely hard to use the Force, and then just yeet Ezra Bridger across. It was just like,
Ugh.
what?
What,
I was
dude?
like, brother, that is terrible.
Yeah.
What? I don't I feel it makes me feel like Disney has no idea what they're doing in terms of just like showing like, we need progression, bro. Like little things first, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like progressive. Like if you want, sure. If you want to be a strong Jedi, prove it to us. Don't just be like, I'm gonna yeet Ezra across because I'm powerful all of a sudden. That's
Yeah.
just dumb, you know.
No, for sure. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just feel kind of like whatever about it. I like the villains. I like the characters. I think Ezra, his actor was good. Their live action.
Yeah.
Also, I don't like how they made Thrawn. Bro, what they did to Thrawn was so bad. How like every time something went wrong for him, he's like, don't worry, guys. I have a backup plan. And every single time, he just gets like fucked. They go past whatever his plan was to stop them. Nothing he does
Mm.
succeeds except for getting away, which even then, the reason why he got away, or like when he did get away, Ezra was still on board. Like it doesn't feel like a win. It doesn't feel like Thrawn ever won. And for someone who's meant to be the next main villain of the Star Wars universe, it's just so underwhelming.
Mm.
It's really
He
underwhelming.
definitely wasn't the same Thrawn he was in Rebels.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. The Rebels Thrawn is top tier. Ahsoka Thrawn wasn't nearly as good, but I still enjoyed it to some capacity. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. And it feels like he was like succeeding. Like he was like success through failure type beat, where things just happen to work out for him. towards the end. Like
Right.
it just did work out. But it doesn't feel like he earned it. It just felt like it had to happen. I don't know. We needed to see a drawn victory. I think that it was just too much of a total like failure on his part. Outside of actually escaping, I guess. Which, I guess he did escape, so mission complete, I suppose, but still.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just wish we got to see more of that mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Where would you rank it?
I looking at like the tiers and stuff, I think it's better than Solo, in my opinion. I would put it in like B.
Okay.
That's where I would put it. Or like high C. At worst, high C. I would put it somewhere in B though, personally.
For me, it's kind of a C tier. I think it's above Obi-Wan.
Uh-huh.
If I had to watch Solo again over Ahsoka, I would. Low key.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna put it in low B.
Mm-hmm.
Above where I would put it in. I would put
Mm-hmm.
it in C. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I'll put it like here. Is that fine with you?
Yeah, that's cool with me.
All right.
That's the list.
That's the list.
Incredible.
Damn. Are there any like
Anything
changes
you
that we need to make?
Okay, let me just look at it. So
We're good here.
we have Clone Wars at the very top. The only thing, as much as I love Revenge of the Sith, I think Empire Strikes Back should be ahead of both Andor and Revenge of the Sith. Personally, I think it's just the best Star Wars film. Period. You could even well, I wouldn't put it in front of Clone Wars, but that would just be me. That's just like a minor nitpick.
I don't
But
mind.
I don't know.
I don't mind, honestly. Yeah. Although
Yeah.
I would put on, in that case, I'm gonna put Andor above Revenge of the
That's
Sith.
fine.
Though.
Also,
All right.
that's fine. Also, I think Andor is. I would have to really think about it, but Andor is probably better than Revenge of the Sith overall. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard. It's harder to compare TV shows to movies, though.
It is. It is difficult because like length and like what they're aiming for,
Mm-hmm.
how self-contained the stories are, and all that.
Right.
But
Let's see what else is on here.
either way, it's
Tales
a
of the
compromise.
Jedi,
So
Rebels, Bad Batch, Ahsoka. I don't really think there's much else that I can really complain about. We kind of just like agreed for the most part, and then anything that was like somewhat of a debate, it was kind of like, oh, we'll just settle it. We'll just kind of compromise. So I think
it
this
wasn't
is
like a
pretty
huge
solid.
difference. We never had like
Mm-hmm.
oh, I hate Rebels and you like Rebels or something like that. It was always
Mm-hmm.
like we agreed. So it's like, yeah, this is good. Yeah, no, I didn't like this. Yeah, no, this was awful. This is trash. This is egregious. This is atrocious. We haven't seen this one. So yeah, it was overall like pretty. Yeah. Okay. That's the list.
How do you
I
feel
guess.
about the overall? Looking at the list, how do you feel about the overall state of Star Wars right now?
I'm noticing that they. This is. I mean, I kind of felt about Star Wars like, or felt this way for a while about Star Wars, but Disney Star Wars can produce good content.
Yeah.
It is so possible for them to do it, but they just keep throwing. For every good project we have, for every like really good project, we have shitter, and the shitter is just like they weigh it down so much more. And the thing is that the shit isn't just dog shit in its own little like bubble. It's dog shit that brings everything down with it. And it's just bad. And like I don't know, like they have good stuff, and I do enjoy good Star Wars. I really do. But some of the stuff is just ugh. Like even with something like Ahsoka, which was like pretty high here, I still feel like Ahsoka's like how it handles Thrawn, it just kind of like soils it a bit for me, and how it handles Sabine, for example, and all that. Like it's just kind of like, ugh. I don't know. There's like a sour taste in my mouth type being.
Yeah.
Ezra's sacrifice being undone like towards the end there. Like I don't know, just stuff like that. General state of Star Wars though, Disney can do something good. I think as long as the sequel trilogy is around, they're fucked, no matter what. There is no like escaping anymore. Star Wars will
You know
always be in.
they're doing a Ray movie apparently.
The thing that frustrates me so much about that Rey movie is that it's
Mm.
just Luke's story, or what should have been Luke's story. Rey is
Yeah.
rebuilding the Jedi Order. Bitch, what's gonna make her different than Luke? They're doing the
Right.
same thing. Like what?
Yeah.
That's I think that's the part that I hate the most about Luke's arc in this, or like what they're doing now, is that Luke
Yeah.
failed to rebuild the Jedi after he saw what the Jedi did wrong, and he knows what they did wrong. He knows. He has their
Yeah.
knowledge, their research. He has everything. He has no reason to go down the path he did and to fail, because he found love like with and compassion.
Yeah.
So what's gonna make Rey different? Nothing, bro.
Right.
Nothing. I guess she has like Luke's guidance now or something to be like, hey, you know, I fucked up. I don't know. I don't know what they do. I just think that the sequel trilogy should have maybe followed like an inverse situation, or maybe back to like how the prequels were. How maybe instead of having like a dominant good force, they should have had a small like evil force, which I guess the sequel trilogy kind of did, with the First Order being smaller than the Republic, but or the New Republic, but you know they still like destroyed them in the first movie like really easily, because they had like a super weapon. But
Right.
I don't know. I just I don't know, man. The Rey movie, I don't hate Rey. I don't hate any of the sequel actors. I wish that they had like good movies to go alongside their characters that were really cool. And I hope that the movies are
Right.
good. I hope that the Rey movie is good, but the damage is done for Star Wars. Like the damage
Yeah.
is just done. Like this is the stain. Like these movies are the stain on the Star Wars universe. I think their only
I'm
option is
just
to
so
go.
surprised and stunned that they're willing to make a Ray movie after everything that has happened
I
with the
respect it in
Star
a way.
Wars universe, bro.
I respect it in a way. Just
If
to
they,
be like,
hopefully they're confident enough that they can make a good film. Maybe
yeah,
that's why they're doing it.
yep,
I hope it's the
and
confidence that they're going to make a good film. You know?
yep. Maybe, hopefully, hopefully that's it. But
Mhm.
we'll see. I do hope that the Rey movie is good. And I just dropped my phone. I hope it's good. I hope that she has a good time in it, and that it's satisfying, and that we get the Star Wars movie that we deserve. So it sounds
Mhm.
so like something a little evil, but just like a good movie. Just get a good film, a good film in the universe, a good project that hopefully going forward makes Star Wars like good again.
Yeah.
That we have like this acts as like a new slate, you know?
Yeah.
Like what happened, like we fucked it up, but at least going forward, it's all right. We can just ignore that little like 30-year pocket, you know, in between episode 6 and episode 9. We can just ignore all that. Let's just move forward, you know? And I'm okay with that.
Right.
I'm okay with the characters in the sequels continuing. Just let's make it better than before. Let's not fuck up again, please.
Right. Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what about you? How do you feel with the state of Star Wars then?
I
Looking at this list, you know.
I'm not mad at the state of Star Wars at the moment. It obviously could be better.
Mhm.
They did what they did with the sequels, and there's nothing we could really change about it. But in terms of everything after they have done, it's not the worst in the world. Obviously, there's the hit. It's a little bit hit and miss. I think the main one of recent history that was just like actually like bad was Boba Fett.
Mhm.
Other than that, like the other shows has it has its goods and has its bads, and I'm okay with having like shows that are like kind of like that. Obviously, we would prefer. Obviously, who wouldn't prefer Peak?
Yeah.
But I can live with it
Mhm.
personally.
I think it's helped.
I don't expect every show to be
Yeah.
amazing. I don't expect that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, continue.
I think it's helped that I've also become more apathetic towards Star Wars, where I don't
Mm-hmm.
feel as passionately about like you know, what happens next, or I don't care as much about the universe ever since what happened with the sequels. You know, like
Yeah.
time has kind of like made me like calm down a bit more and care less about it. Especially
Yeah.
as Disney has produced like increasingly worse projects, like season 3 of The Mandalorian being like ugh to me, and then like the Ahsoka stuff and what happened there, and just Book of Boba Fett
Mm.
in general, and Obi-Wan. Like just these shows that have done like a little like bits of damage that slowly kill my like hype and like my passion for it. Where they're not like
Yeah.
necessarily like egregiously bad projects, except for one notable exception.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
but you know, it's just like little things. It's little things, but I don't care as much. I don't care as much anymore about it, which is fine. It's a good place to be, at least. It's not like I'm hating too much. It's more like I don't care. I don't care anymore. Do whatever you want.
This is the thing though, like we're just passionate about Star Wars, right? So it's like you
Hmm.
want to see the thing that you love and the thing that you know can be so good do well.
Yeah.
And obviously we're gonna sit here and like talk about how much we want it to be better, um, even if it's just like mediocre.
Hmm.
But yeah,
To me, the biggest crime though that the sequel era of Star, or the Disney era of Star Wars has done is how they fucked over the actors for the sequel trilogy. Cause
oh
man,
yeah,
those guys are Star Wars fans, and they don't deserve the hate
yeah,
that they got. They really don't. I wish they had gotten good movies. I really do. Cause they
yeah,
deserve to have like good movies to go alongside their characters and their performances. Like they really do. They
mm,
put their heart and soul into it. They did what they could. Like it could have been good, man. That's the thing about Star Wars, like Disney Star Wars. It could have been good. It
mm,
had potential,
it definitely
but
could have been.
it is what it is. I think that's it then, right? I think that's
Yeah,
yeah, that's all the Star
I hate
Wars
to bring it up again, but
TV
I'm just
show.
gonna listen, man. The
Oh,
sequels, just because I just thought of it,
no, it's fine.
and you just mentioned it a little bit.
Go on.
The
We could talk.
the
It's fine.
whole the whole prequels like hate that it used to get, and then the resurgence of the prequels, everybody coming back to it later on being like, you know what, the prequels are actually fun. I like the prequels. The amount of people I know now that like love they say that they love the prequels is a lot, because honestly those movies, the issue with those movies were just like movie things, not story things that had issues. It was acting problems, bad dialogue. But what I do, so I don't think there's ever gonna be a resurgence for the sequels.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the people who grew up on Star Wars now actually like the sequels, and maybe 10, 15 years down the line, people talk about the sequels better. I
Yeah,
really doubt it, just because
it feels different because
it's.
also the Clone Wars,
Mhm.
I think, is a factor for what helped
Oh,
out
right.
the prequels a lot.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because there's obviously always gonna be like there's always prequel fans, and even now there are sequel fans. Like when the movies
Yeah.
first came out, but I think I think like Star Wars: The Clone Wars helped the prequels a lot to become more like globally accepted, and like those
Yeah.
characters and just that entire like part of the universe, and a lot more people appreciate the politics of Star Wars because of the Clone Wars and what it did to
Yeah.
expand it and show off a lot more of it, and being such a mature show. Like even for like you know, for a kids show, it did so much and was so mature and stuff. Um, and I think that's like until the sequel era gets that, I don't think it'll happen. And I don't think the sequel era can get that just because the story itself doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't make
That's the
sense. Yeah.
problem with it. You
Yeah.
know. So I don't
Somehow
think it's ever gonna
Palpatine
get a
returned.
resurgence. That is, I legitimately like, out of all the movies I've seen, that is might go down as one of the worst lines I've ever heard in a movie. Period. Not just Star Wars, just movies in general.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it so much. It's fine though. I digress.
Yeah. Also, just in like episode 9, Palpatine
Yeah.
has 10,000 Star Destroyers or whatever. And each
Yeah.
single one has a laser that can destroy a planet. What? What?
That's ridiculous, bro.
It just is. It's
Just, how
so
can we make this even more ridiculous?
ah
Each ship here could destroy a planet. Yep.
yep
This is
yep
ridiculous. Yep.
oh yep. Just do all that. Oh, and they're also all fully piloted and stuff. Yep.
Makes no
Ah,
sense,
man,
bro.
what a
What if
movie.
I do a third one?
What a
Mhm.
movie. No one does it like Ryan Johnson and J.J. Abrams.
Yep.
They
What
do
an
it,
incredible duo.
honestly.
Unstoppable.
It's like Naruto and Sasuke, man.
Incredible.
They, they,
I've never actually seen Naruto. I need to see that one day.
that's good. I like it. It's a good show. A lot of filler though. Should skip it if you watch it. I don't think the filler is
That's how I always hear about it.
Yeah. You know, at the end of that show, there's like a whole 200 episodes of filler. Like
Really?
before the final arc. Yeah. It's
Holy
it's actual like hell. I mean, it was happening with the current show with Boruto. They were doing what's it called? They were doing like an arc, and then they like were close to the manga, so they had to do like filler, and they were doing like I think it's like 100 something episodes of just straight filler.
Yeah.
100 something. It's above 100. I'm not. Maybe I could be wrong about over 100, but I'm pretty sure it was. So
Hmm.
those shows have an awful filler problem. So I gotta watch One Piece instead. One Piece is better, stays on top. Anyway, that's a completely different topic though. Unrelated. Still
enough.
true though. Still true. Watch One Piece, but yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Thanks for having me, man.
yeah. Thank you for being here for this. God, we've been here for 2 hours plus.
Really? Wait, hold on. When did we set the call? 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, right?
Did we? Oh yeah, I guess. 8:15.
8:20.
Yeah.
8:15.
It's 11:02
Damn.
now. Yeah.
Damn.
All right, well, it was fun. It was fun ranking these. A lot longer than I thought they'd take, but we had a lot to talk about, I guess. So it makes
That's
sense.
because Star Wars is base.
It is so true.
It's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully, in the
When do you
future,
think this
when
is
we
going
have,
up on your channel, man?
huh?
When do you think this is going up on your channel?
Oof, this is